allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just drove in from St. Louis myself. There was a big bathtub, but deeply interrelated. So,
Yeah. So he'll probably be around. All right. Roll call. Alderman Jody. Here. Alderman Brian Helms. He's absent for the time being. When he comes in. Alderman Melvin Freely. Here. Alderman Rose. Here. That's 3 for 4. Quorum is present. Approval agenda. We have a motion on the table.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made. Second. Alderman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion approved. Agenda passed. Motion on the table or anything about the consent agenda. Have you guys had a chance to review it? Minutes of previous meeting, treasurer report, collector report. You'll see 2 months of that because COVID was down and did 2 months work. Bills and payment.
So, on the monthly budget report, this is,
You have a bunch, budget report and treasurer report.
says monthly budget report.
Yeah, it's 2 months.
2 months.
May and June.
Oh, okay, that's.
He had to play catch up.
And the percent used at our last meeting seemed like it was higher. Units, has it improved? That thing's got balance.
So, on the sewer side, or which side are we talking about?
Admin.
Admin, we've had 7% money. We have. What was the total amount? We were here talking yesterday. Fiscal year last year there, I think it was around 40.
For last year, this year was about 43, 40, it was 48, this year is 43.
48 what?
Thousand.
That's 4,500. but it's open for discussion for
So they seem to be in alignment from months and months until we get incremental increase.
There are some fluctuations, I mean, you have, your price index on certain things. But like surprise repairs such as like the oil motor, that weed motor, but I plan on trying to get that reversed for the plant.
From,
Me,
oh,
that was big for today. So,
right,
which that was approximately around $600. That weed motor there, the weed motor was like $600.
625.
Okay. That was the cheapest one we could find for that, because that one is obsolete. Keep the plan have narration.
all right, well, I make a motion to approve this report for the budget.
There's a motion on the table, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passed for consent agenda. All right, public forum. That was, I don't know anybody else signed up. Okay, that's what that. All right. Ms. Dante, the floor is yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I don't think I can stand it. I set my.
No, you're right there.
As you know, we have a problem in the system. Junk, any kind of junk, lots of stuff. And in our, this is St. Mary Chambers building, in their subdivision, we have rules and regulations about junk on the property, etc. And we have one that has multiple cars that are not licensed. And when they're licensed, then got complaints from the neighbors because we're not allowed. But we can't get the ordinance enforced because we don't have a police officer. I sent him a letter and a certified letter. And he knows that we want him to remove it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
tells his neighbors, he said, well, I just put him in the backyard and they can't see him. Well, if you drive down the highway, you can see him. Anyway, so I talked with our city attorney, Chambers, and he told me what other small villages and towns do. And as you see, the one I attached in your packet is from Altenburg. And it's such a nice little town, they try to keep it neat and clean, they don't have a police officer either. And I understand that you probably have to appoint a violation officer, but I'm sure in this city, you can find somebody that you can depend on to write those violations. So, there's just a couple of things you have to do. You have to pass an ordinance, like similar to the one that I attached. You can get your own city attorney and have one for you. Or you can copy that one, make some changes. And then he also asked that on your nuisance ordinance, which is this one here, the 484, 915, we need to put an amendment to that. So that the offender has to pay the court costs and the attorney fees. So if you notify them enough and they don't need to do it and you take them to court, they should have to pay those court costs and attorney fees. Why should the people that want to uphold the ordinances have to pay? And a lot of people do it. We might have something on the books now where it says that. So, anyway,
There it is, yeah.
yeah.
They were later on.
So anyway, you can take that into consideration, but I think it's a neat way to get rid of some of this stuff.
How many vehicles does that person have?
It's got a boat, yeah, it's got 3 or 4 cars, 2 cars, trucks, in pieces. It's got more than 1 or 2.
They're not licensed or anything?
And they're not inspected. I noticed that one ordinance at 915 that was passed, and Brenda was the mayor. It says that inspection stickers too, well, no, they don't pass inspection. And, anyway, you have everything lined up that you could afford to go use. Now, a lot of other places not. I mean, I can go up and down the streets and I can see it. We can go down, Coffee Drive, and there's a trailer down there, and there's a bunch of couple of cars and things sitting there. They might have old license plates on them, I don't think they are. In fact, I don't know if anybody would move it there. But maybe there is. I mean, I can understand a person having a car and they don't use it anymore. Maybe we're thinking about fixing it up. And I think the city always kind of looked at that. If you have something, that they're going to repair it. But not just to have it and keep it forever and not do nothing with it.
So I think that she's right about that, but they had to have it covered. If they were going to repair it and work on it, they had to have it covered.
Yeah, but they had to be doing something with it. It couldn't be just, I'm going to cover these cars now because I want to see the same thing. No, that's not, yeah.
Now on the boat, I mean, it's a recreational vehicle, so I'm trying to, is it broken or is it pieces or?
I don't know.
That's what I was asking.
I'm just getting
I'm
that,
trying to think.
according to hearsay, what they said about
Okay.
him having
So
it.
everybody can have boats, that's why I'm like
Yeah,
thinking.
you can have a boat.
I mean,
That's right. Get
I
out.
got a John boat that sits.
Yeah, you can have a trailer, but I think he's got several of their own.
Okay.
But it doesn't keep the rest of the property in between either. So it's not just that, but you can probably resolve the other things. Because he had some old tires there and he moved a lot of it to the back. But he had a trash can out in front of the yard, which in our subdivision is not, except for the day you have trash picked up, you have to keep it somewhere else.
You guys have like a booklet or your own rules and
Just not a
regulations?
little, we got just a paper. rules.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that, so I'm trying to understand.
Well, we give it out to our people when they go.
Okay. Because I never knew it existed other than
Yeah,
housing.
the city of having,
This 484 one is pretty lengthy, lengthy, this is when you were in office, I guess.
yeah, that's the one that we passed years and years ago, when I was sitting clerk, Well, a lot of these ordinances were, not only made up by our attorney at the time, but a lot of ordinances we get put in the city. Belong to them.
Yeah, I think you're, I mean, I haven't asked an attorney, but when it comes to fine penalties or legal fees, usually my understanding was that in the legal case, the plaintiff and the defense attorney can make requests for reimbursement for it, but it's not set out at the onset. And then the judge will decide whether it's valid or not. So to put it in an ordinance in advance may bypass some prior legal precedent.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of rare, because the judge ultimately can assign punitive damages, so that'd be up to hospital. I'm sure that's part of this process, is going to take these trials.
And our chamber attorney said that he would help us, or that he would help the city if they needed some assistance.
Yeah, I would think, I mean, you have your own group from your housing association, so if you additionally posted whatever requirements you have, he's a resident of that subdivision, so.
I'm not for other people. I'm now, I'm.
But this particular person is,
Yes.
and you're in charge of determining what laws are effective, or?
Well, we haven't had a problem. We haven't had a problem. This is the first time in all years that we have, since we've had that.
Yeah,
That
I'm
we
trying to,
have anybody that's violated any of the rules.
I heard that you were interested in resolving this, but I couldn't immediately think of who it was from when I'm plowing snow up there.
Just right out.
Is it in a certain
when we first go up, yeah, it's not on the zero back now. Yes. So, that's all I have.
So the process is just, like Oscar, in the first circuit court, then probably the appellate, the Supreme Court, doing Oscar over. They give you permission to do something, right?
You know, it's supposed to send it first to the circuit judge, which would be, I guess, Mr. Inlet.
Yeah.
And then you send a copy of the ordinance to the presiding judge of the St. Genevieve County.
That'd be, well, that'd be,
Same one.
no, that'd be,
Oh, it was to be the donor and Farmington.
yes.
Yeah, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it was,
Yeah. And then you send a copy to the clerk and a copy to the state court administrator Jackson. So,
and Oscar would make that determination based on the votes.
and then when they approve it, the presiding judge has to approve it. That's probably the donor and Farmington. I think that was.
Is it Judge Ward?
Who?
There's Judge Ward, there's, Judge Wendy Ward, she's the presiding one. Wasn't, oh, she pushed this morning, yeah, but
I don't know who it is. I have been.
I would imagine that's probably a while ago, and then she would send it up to us.
Well, you can find out.
Yeah.
The court department.
Because when I called about it, ours couldn't just file, like we used to be able to prosecute, we used to be able to file on behalf of the city.
You see, now this law has changed.
Yeah.
And
Have all this stuff.
have to do it. That's why you can't have my court.
Yeah. That's back when municipalities had more control of fines and courts and everything else.
I have another question. I was looking at the agenda. We had a closed session and we're talking about selling city equipment. How come you're not doing that in the session?
We won't be selling it, we will be we're going through the bins and everything, making sure what we're picking. And which equipment are we on there?
I thought I said in there something about.
Talking about,
I really didn't understand the whole thing, but it's something about selling computer
What's
systems
selling?
or something. Buying a new computer system or something about that. I didn't
No,
know.
it's just the general one that we want to have.
leasing, purchase, of real estate by a public governmental body, not a transaction may adverse affect the legal consideration thereof. Is that much one you're talking about? Subsection 2, 11, 12, sealed bids,
Yeah.
records to identify configuration of components, operation, computer. And then, oh, you talking about that one right there? The telecom one?
Second page.
And maybe I'm not selling it, and I thought it said on there something about researching or sale of real estate, like public government property, or you selling real estate.
It's leased, oh, it's,
I mean, you can do that, if whatever, but I thought I saw something about competitive bidding.
that is, for projects related to the DRA 4872 disaster fund, this is relief funding money for repairs when we had it last March and April, and
Why
then
are you doing that in closed session?
because we can either talk about who's qualified and if we're going to do RFQ, and then we have to make sure that that money is allocated such on the bids, and who can do it too, because they have so many rules and regulations.
But I thought it was a
But after that, I mean, we were not going to vote or make a decision, it's just talk. Yeah, we were, yeah, that's all that was, because they have so much red tape too, I'm sure you're aware. Yeah. Is there anything else? Mrs. Sunday?
Something about using the water, I hope that's not what I think it
Doesn't say where,
Huh?
doesn't say where.
Okay.
It's just generalized.
All right. Anything else?
That way the district can't have anything saying we're doing this behind our back. Is there anything else? Does the board have any questions?
Sorry, I'm late. Oh, it's 6:30.
Well, there was an heiress and then all this, yeah.
But I would like to follow up, Mr. Mayor, with a question though.
Yes, sir.
This is, your presentation is about the story of your town. Should be the state presentation
This is,
about the story town.
No, she was talking about abandoned vehicles.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to follow along, oh my God. I missed it.
I think 484 and 915 or 863, right?
484, 915.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's in there.
484, 915.
But I'm just saying, the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can get started on this stuff.
Oscar's not a very fast one. If it does, you know how it is, so.
Yeah,
But
I
I'll,
understand, yeah.
so if I need any questions, can I reach out to Tom's office?
Just have, I'm calling him, I'll talk to him.
Because, just for reasoning, because
Because she's not the attorney's office, so.
I know that. But if he's wanting to change it, I mean, I know where the recommendations are, which I understand where he's going at with that. I just don't know if it's Oscar or how, who's the presiding Oscar director at this time? Or who does he go through up through there, does he know? I don't know, it changes every year, so we may have it. So, all right, anybody else? Okay. Unfinished business, we didn't schedule a work session, guys, budgetary review, and look at some things. So, can you guys, if you could,
I can't, I won't be available for that on the 6th.
is that when you're
I
fine?
see you, gentlemen.
Thank you for coming.
I see you with a bottle on the top.
You got them out here.
I need you what?
Behind him back there.
Since you lost.
They've been out there.
How we doing?
I had to look there with bad numbers.
Oh, yeah, the old one.
Well, at least I can get up there. Normally, I sit right on that.
Take care.
Sir. Back there. The next day. Why do a lot of people that we know? But you want me to go in there and take it?
Busy.
Busy.
Yes, it is, Mary.
We got a while back.
It's been a while.
It's going to be busy. Like busy.
Mary needs to get a chance to review my sister last night, I was late. You were right on that area too. just-
I just double that for you actually. So is it 5 million gallons or is it? All right.
I was hoping, I was hoping.
That's a big number difference.
Almost good.
Yeah.
Alright, back to the agenda item, do we, have like a time you guys want to schedule that? I know doctors are on, so after the 26th.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any prior engagements, so we can schedule work sessions for good, kind of things in line and working like we used to, back line from line item?
What about some tentative dates, Mr. Mayor?
Do what?
What about some tentative dates? Throw them out there, we consider them.
A little bit, like actually put it in the office.
Well, that's the good one time.
Well, if you got like a doctor's appointment or you're having a baby, I mean, I understand, so I'm just making it easier for you guys. I don't run a dictatorship. Like crazy.
It's not what I ordered.
Hey, look at this shirt. I'm sorry. Don't turn feelings.
I bought that.
Let's see, 26.
26.
So-
John gets back on the 26th.
So 27, 28, 29, 30.
So the 30th, you want to have a work session? Is everybody available on the 30th of
What day is
July?
it?
30th of July,
Next week?
Thursday,
Yeah. No, that'll be in 3 weeks.
in 3 weeks.
Can I remind you, can I remind the board? We don't have much time.
I know that, you didn't mind, you have all full
Yeah, we
permission.
need to get the jump. We can
I
always start early and come back.
mean, you guys did a work session out there.
Do you want me, are you able to take that from Guatemala like we did last time? Like, alright. We'll have a forum, but do you want me to at least like record and send it to
You
you?
can send me an email or something.
Is this a budget work session?
It'd just be, yeah, we need to start working on that kind of,
We usually do it at the end of July.
I figured it'd be best, that's typically what we do, try and start getting ahead of the game, it's coming up quick. you know?
Right.
And so we're trying to get that wrapped around with everything else, so.
I'm good with the 30th.
And if you want to have one earlier, then do it earlier.
Do they have internet down there?
Yeah.
Okay. Unless you want to do the 23rd, which puts it at 2 weeks, or we can extend it out to August, but that's too close.
No, I wouldn't. I think
But we got 20, or we can do, you're getting back to 26? Yeah, we can jet lags, I mean, unless you want to do it on Tuesday,
No.
Wednesday, Thursday.
I could
We have the,
just pick a day and I'll be here.
we got 27th to 31st, or beforehand, you can do the whole week of the 20th through 24th. And I can try to interconnect you like I did last time via Zoom with speaker where you're visible and can be heard.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be in the same time zone.
Yeah.
So, but I can't come, I would just schedule what's most
long
convenient
as
for
we
you
have-
guys, and then I will make an attempt to.
I'll link you up an hour.
I don't think it would be necessary for you to be involved in the first work session.
Right.
I
I'm
tell you,
with you on that.
it's all repeat of stuff you already really know. It's the second and third ones.
Yeah.
You start pulling numbers.
Yeah, so make it at your convenience, you'll have a forum,
Yeah.
and then you just go in.
Alright, so I just want to make sure everybody don't feel left out around here.
Sure.
So, okay, that opens up, well, we got the week of 13th and 17th, that's next week. We got the 20th and 24th, that's 2 weeks. If you want to do 2 weeks, so you kind of get a budget wrap around your head, we can print P&L reports, line items and stuff, and kind of get a jump start on
I will
that.
not be here 16th and 17th.
16th and
The
17th.
17th, I will not be here.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
If we're gonna have a work session on the latter part of July, it might be good to give each one of us, I'm just suggesting this, an assignment for a particular area of the line item, just to work on.
That's what I was wanting to
Is
do.
that what you were saying?
Break it up. Yeah, well, no, I'm getting there. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
break it up so it's not everybody like, there's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I can present my 2 lines or 3 lines in one area, Rose could do hers, could do yours, I mean, it's done.
And like when Mary helped me years ago, we did this document by line for line for line for line, get each line item.
Yeah.
And make sure, so that's why I'm making sure everything's good. So,
I knew you would, I knew that.
I mean, I figured it'd be easier because,
So what date is it? But right now we're spending.
do you want me to just,
Let's not do next week.
next week's just too much, okay, so
Yes.
we'll mark it out 2 weeks from now.
What date is that?
That's just for future.
Oh, I have that. That's my brother's party.
Hope it's out on
We got stolen.
So we got the 20th and 23rd.
Oh, man.
Abandoned.
All right, so you want, what, Thursday?
23rd?
23rd sound good? 23rd. Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, yes. Brian, are you available?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you were in the city or not. So
So that's
Thursday,
good. 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock,
6 P.M.
I'm writing down.
1,800 hours.
Brian, you can put 5:45.
Exactly. Jeez.
That's my fault there was an error, so I'll take full responsibility.
Good. Thank you.
All right, so schedule it,
Yeah.
1,800 hours, 6 o'clock, whatever you want to call it. Sundial it, and put it in.
It's under my anytime.
All right, moving on. Brian, update on the city clerk position, and do you want to talk with your fellow board members and proceeding?
Want me to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Well, what we've got is, we have not signed a contract to hire a city clerk, but we have given a headhunting company an opportunity to look for a clerk's position with our job description being paramount, to be able to fill it, to find somebody that can walk in and just take in the position of city clerk. Not a lot of training, but, you know, orientation course, but somebody with experience in government and or clerical office work. And what we have is they have set aside 3 qualified candidates that we're ready to look at yet. So we haven't agreed to interview with any of them yet. They've gone through their search. They've identified 3 people. They haven't approached the 3 people. These 3 people are looking for work as clerks or as clerical managers of big offices. And they say they're qualified. And if we felt like, now we certainly would interview and find the best fit. But if we went through those 3 and didn't feel that any of those were qualified for us, we have another degree to go through. But they've identified the first 3 that they thought would match. So having said that, you know, we agreed last time that we had found funds to pay the fee. So the money's there for us to use, and it's not due until 30 days after we hire. And the other guarantee was, in the event that the hire doesn't work, which is very rare, they said, that they would spend time bringing in another set of interviews for us, and at a fee. It's not as the original search fee. So I've been working with these people for several months as they went through the process. They've asked me a lot of questions about qualifications, back with exactly what it is that we're looking for. And I talked to them about your concern, Rose, about the salary and, you know, and entry-level positions for the clerk position, government-wise in the state. And they were saying that an area of $15 to $16 an hour is pretty usual for an entry-level person. But they went through the scale. And but we want somebody that had 5 to 10 years experience. We're looking at $18 to $19 an hour. So it just depends on where we feel like we need to plug a person in. And so I was glad to be able to have that kind of review.
Do you have a job description?
Yes.
You do have a job description?
Yeah. And so we sent that to them. But it doesn't mean that a person that we hire at $16 an hour would qualify necessarily for all the experience that we need, but that they had the potential of the education to take on a position as city clerk. None of the people that are sending us are entry-level people, but we had talked about the scale. Rose had asked, you know, what is the scale? And I remember before saying, I don't think we'll be able to hire a qualified person under $19 an hour at the time. That's what we were looking at. But the question was, can we get someone less expensive because we're such a small town? And the answer is no, if we have for these qualifications. But I did have them look into that and find out, and they said, certainly we got people with education, but the experience needed to fit the description would require more experience and a higher pay scale. And some of these people would still have to go through the state certified program, you know, as far as learning more about being a government city clerk and learning more about the sunshine laws. The situation that I seem to get from everybody is that we don't have a lot of city clerks walking around looking for work like we have nurses and other fields. And so it's not a field where, you go to college and when I get out, I want to be a city clerk. So we have to look for this person that's got qualifications that are in a lot of areas. And especially being able to, someone that has extensive clerical background and other qualifications that we gave them. So these people, when they got back with me, what they felt was that they had 3 people that were highly qualified to come in and fill the job, that they could almost just plug in and say, this is our office, this is how we have to do it, and let them come in and organize for us, what we've been doing. And because they know about collecting, I mean, I'll be posting and bills and all this other stuff, but they just kind of need to learn what we're doing. And then they would have to have further education. But we're not looking at, we're looking at probably paying $18 to $19 a month.
So we still need to go through all that training that we were talking about, so we need to
Yeah,
train.
because the secondary training has to do with people just aren't qualified in that area. They're not walking around with government experience unless we happen to find, city clerks walking around here that,
Yeah, it's finding good clerks is hard statewide.
yeah.
A number of cities struggle. So
Sure.
my daughter is now city administrator for a small town, central Missouri. She started off as city clerk. And she knew, of course, that I worked for city government for many, many years. And she called me, she said, Mom, this job's open, what do you think? So she'd been there less than 2 weeks and she called me and she said, Mom, what did you get me into? Because there's so many different things that you have to know and, it's very overwhelming. So billing and, council, I mean, all of the different accounting and all of the things that you need to know. And so it takes a lot of times, a couple of years for somebody really to feel comfortable. And even then, what I will tell you is that for a longer, we had 2 former city clerks on our staff. And so Darla Connor, if you hire someone, she will come down and sit with the new clerk and, kind of here's day one so that they don't get so overwhelmed that we had one city that had 4 city clerks in 3 or 4 weeks. So, one didn't even last the whole day. She came in at noon and he's back. So it really is critical that you give them someone so that they don't come in and feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What they were saying in this agency is that what they saw our job description, they said this is a complex job description. We're going to have to look for a candidate with some years of experience here to fit that level of experience, but we do feel like we have some candidates that can come right in and understand what's going on. They have accounts receivable, payable, they've had these other experiences, and they've also operated in big offices. We're a small office, we're 300 people. There's only so many bills to pay a month. There's only so much collection coming in. This isn't St. Louis, and it's certainly not a Kansas City, and we're not the smallest town in the state, but almost. And so I'm thinking that if we could find somebody with those types of qualifications, it won't take them very long to learn, but they did suggest to look at this person for kind of a year's worth of training and acclimating into the position of city clerk, which is really the go-to person for the city. And this person represents us. This is a person that, in our absence, is basically the government, And so they don't know that necessarily if they've been in an accounting firm. And so those are the things they need to learn. But that they thought these candidates were capable of taking on the responsibilities and the dignity that would be behind the position that they would have to be able to maintain. We have to have empathy for our citizens, and we have to understand that we have to serve them, and we have to turn around and get the job done for them. And those are the things that I think most people have if they've had business experience, but this is really a hands-on thing.
One thing that So someone who's done accounting, bookkeeping, those kind of thing, you need to understand that they need to understand that they need to know how to handle upset people. Because usually the person standing at the window is the one that gets yelled at first. And so, there's a lot of that goes on, and so depending on their tolerance for, they need to know that coming in.
And I think we've talked about that, Leslie, that would
I only have about 30 years customer experience.
But I do like the way that you handle things. I think that in general, the idea is to get these people help. And they're our customer. And that's the way we look at it during the interview process, that we're talking to them about their customers and what we expect from them. But what we don't want is a lot of turnover here. We've had a city clerk here for 20-something years in Joanne Dumsey, which was an excellent clerk. And then we had a couple of other clerks come along. But I think all of them handle themselves pretty well, probably. But that is something we cover during the interview process. But just to wrap this up, what they were saying to us is if we decided that we wanted to go into the process, that we would have to go through, we'd have to let them know this. They would vet them for us as far as setting things up first for the interview process. We'd have to have a first interview to kind of clear them to get into a second interview, and then a third. And each one of us would cover a specific area of duties and detail that we want them to know, so that we're not blasting them with the same information in a 3-interview process. And so I kind of discussed that with them, and I appreciated their input, So anyway.
So why not all of you interview them together?
Because the way that I guess we could. They've already interviewed these people.
No, but I'm saying you as a panel,
Yeah.
they come in and sit in front of all of you.
I think in the end they do, because in the end the board hires them.
So whenever I was hired for a small town, I got interviewed by the council. And that's the way when the board hired Tara initially is.
We might consider that.
Yeah.
We have to by ordinance.
Yeah.
And that way, all of you hear the same thing from
Yeah.
that person together.
Yeah.
And I think it would be easy, just.
I think that's what we talked about. We didn't talk about doing that first. We talked about the city, then talking to us about the candidate, bringing that candidate and talking to them about the job. And if we felt that this is a person that could do that, then we'd bring him in. But in the end, we have to approve the hire, the board does. And so the board would interview them, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to report. So my point is if we want to move forward with it, they have some candidates ready for us. And then if we don't, then we need to let them know that. And
I think we had delays that were unintentional, but it's going on long enough, and we need to move on that enough. So I have them in.
so do y'all want to have these 3 people set up for interviews and all of us interview them all at the same time to begin with and be here for that? Or should we do the other way, which eventually get interviewed by the whole board?
Yes.
But what we're trying to do is, we already know what we want, but I don't know if we'd all be here to interview 3 people at the same time, and go through the process. But it's up to you guys, what you think's best.
You said a lot of stuff, but the service that we hired, are you saying that they will pre-screen, they've already pre-screened, they've got it down to 3, and they would go further and narrow it down to 1? Or you're suggesting that the board meet all 3 and pick ourselves out?
We don't have to see all 3 of them, and we don't have to see the second 3. They said that we've already done some pre-screening, and we have 3 candidates that qualify for your job description here. We're looking for work right now that are qualified, we feel, to interview with you. So we don't have to interview all 3 of them. We can interview them just one at a time, but I think what Mary was saying is that maybe we should interview them if we decide to hire the company, have them send one person out, and I guess we all four interview them. It sounds like
It would be simpler to do it in one night or one afternoon and have all three come in. Just knock
Schedule
it
an
out.
hour.
Yeah, knock it out
45
that
minutes.
day, make a decision at the end of the day, and have it be done with instead of dragging it out. for 3
And would we have to have a forum to do that?
No, you won't have that forum, it's just, that way it'll be fluid, and we'll be following the charter law, the ordinance that follows that with the
Yeah.
clerical, so we're in line with state statute. So I agree with Mary's point on that too, so we're still in line, they kind of wean out what they think, but, I have taken Mary's advice for years, she's smart. And, she's right about that, so,
Well, that's what we're talking about, is procedure.
yeah.
But how should we proceed? We know that they're ready and we're ready. We say we have the funds to pay the company. They've kind of pre-screened some people for us.
Yeah.
They don't have to send us 3 people. We could take their top pick.
Yeah.
Can't you ask them for their resumes, and you guys look at resumes and say, yeah, these sound
Yeah,
like,
that's what they do.
yeah.
Okay, so it is.
I think that's what we should do. Yeah, we should additionally review these 3 resumes.
Well, they're saying that, they're not going to, we just say, who do you recommend for this position? They said, well, we have a person right now. We're going to send over their resume, let you guys take a look at it. If it's somebody you're interested in, you give us a call and we prep them for an interview. And what we're saying is, we'll all be here to interview at the same time, that person. But we don't have to go to a second or third person. We can do it one at a time. I think their point was, look, we're ready. We have some qualified people here. Would you like to start the process? And they didn't say they could send 3 people. They were just saying, we've got 3 people that qualify.
Well, if they have 3 people that are qualified, just have them come in with evening and we'll do all 3. One's at 6 or whatever, the other's at 6:30, and then in an hour, and 15 minutes, we'll have all 3 done.
So I don't like the idea of us saying, oh, you just go ahead and pick one for us to use it is the best, because
I think,
they come in here, I may not think that that's the best
Right,
person,
yeah.
so I think that we should do, like I said,
Yeah.
one is 3, and make that decision then.
And if they had a dozen, we do all a dozen.
yeah, and that way, like Mary said, you stagger the times. The doc said too, as well, to reiterate, so we have the money, we need to get on this, so I'm calling the question, are we wanting to just, I understand the debate of them weeding them out, we schedule them 3 apart, and we get their resumes, like Brian said, everybody on the board gets their resumes, we filter, everybody gets a chance to, whatever, to interview them or whatnot, and then you guys come to consensus and make your decision.
Yeah, and so our procedure would be, okay, we decided to go with the company, but we haven't decided that yet, but
No.
when we decided to use them, that means we're gonna obligate ourselves to payment. And we have to sign the contract. And once we sign the contract, then they're going to say, okay, these are 3 candidates that we feel that position. Send us the resumes, we take a look at them, we call them back and tell them these 3 candidates we'd like to interview. They help us do that. And then we can set up a time, personally.
Or we look at all 3 of them, like 2.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
So that's what we should do then?
Yes, really.
So I make a motion that we, dispense with all of the discussion and go according to the ordinance. And the people in, notify the people and the company of our intentions of the interview based on what we see.
Have you guys approved or authorized the mayor to sign the contract?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the mayor is the one that does the hiring anyway. We have to approve this hire.
No, it takes a council approval to enter into a contract with this company that's
Right.
doing this work.
Yes. That's it.
And we've already
We
had,
have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed it.
we just haven't
agreed to it.
yeah, we just haven't signed the contract yet because we.
There is a second on this motion.
Well, listen to what Felix has to say, so we get this procedure right. Number one, because I was over the administration thing, and work for these people, I'm going to call them and tell them we're ready to sign a contract. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask them to send to the mayor, the applicant, they have 3 applicants that they're recommending. They all can distribute those between us, so that we all get one. And then you can set up an interview schedule
Yeah,
for us,
yeah.
and then we interview. And then we just go through the normal process. They've already been referenced and everything, so we just have to be able to pick the person that we think is best. So 1, hire the people, 2, resumes to the mayor. And after that, number 3, the mayor distributes the resumes. Resumes to the board. And then after that, the mayor will try to set up with us, or get coordinated with us to set up our schedule for interviewing. And you want to try to get at least 2 or 3 of us at each one of those meetings. If we can, we'll
I would prefer, at least 3, that way, and like Rose said, she may not like somebody like that. But going back to Alderman and Freeland's question, he did call a question and debate and vote on it. So we got a motion, so do we have a second? Go ahead and approve it.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passed. So we'll do that, Brian, we'll do everything.
Yep.
We'll coordinate with each other, and I think that's reasonable. Mary, do you have any objections? What do you think? Do you think that'd be all right to do it that way? It meets both the charter, the ordinance, and everything else. Okay.
So I'll call them tomorrow, and I'm gonna break down the contract to you.
I think, yeah, we'll do that straight.
All right.
All right. Okay, unfinished business, so we talked about the tree in the French Creole district, so this be real quick. So do we want to do a proclamation, do we want to do that and designate which areas are a district for this, or go from there? So I'm asking, then the next, we can talk about the work session if we want. It's just fresh in your mind, just from last meeting.
Yeah.
We never finished it, so there was nothing.
Well, I would make a motion to adopt the proclamation of French Colonial Creole District Revitalization Project Initiative and Improvements, and defer to Alderman Helms on, since he's got experience with St. John with this, on designating the area. But basically, the initial thing would be along Highway 61, because it has the most visibility. And then 3 or 4 sites that probably have historical value, which would be St. Mary Landing, one of the schools that's still in existence, maybe
Our church.
Church.
The church is a good one, I think there.
Yeah. The whole church, school, landing, and is there a railroad depot?
Yeah, we did talk about perhaps doing a pavilion of some type of our own that we would build, and that'd be the focal point for the Creole Colonial District's photos, displays, or whatever we want to do, visual aid.
And what I propose for that is to build a small structure that's probably 12 by 10, that is in the vertical log construct, because I just did a timber trimming class so I can build it, and
Post and tear.
tear it, post in the ground. And in that way, you could have like a hitching post in front of it, and an ideal location would probably be right in front of City Hall, in that flat spot under the tree. So there's a shade there, a parking space for probably 3 cars, and connect with Kaskaskia in some way as well. So that's also part of the thing. We have immediate proximity to it.
So we would have to designate, so just to make this clear, we're the French Creole Colonial Corridor that runs from St. Louis to Kaskaskia. And that's where our French relatives all came and settled before New Orleans and before a lot of
I'm
us.
calling for the question.
Yeah, he's calling.
He has, we're not getting anywhere.
So,
The motion is on the floor.
A Okay, well, there is, I just want to figure this out real
Well,
quick.
we can figure
If
it
we're
out
gonna-
in the work session.
You can adopt
He was just bringing up a name, and I was gonna say, if we adopt this, it has to have a name that's gonna fit in with everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
St. Mary's has not been designated part of it, he was just saying French colonial, Creole colonial, or whatever we're saying, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
everyone else is French Creole heritage.
Is
Is what we're trying
So
to.
you're amending, yeah, you want to amend it, that's right?
Yeah, so we just want to make the name blend with everyone else. And
Yeah.
send them a proclamation telling we want to join them and celebrating our heritage. This is the St. Mary's French Creole Heritage section, or what we say, mission, or whatever, but we need to have that name that kind of fits. So what they call this in the United States is the French Creole Colonial Corridor, Mid-Mississippi River Valley. That's what we're in. And each one of these groups have a name. St. Genevieve has theirs, Kaskaskia has theirs. St. Mary doesn't have one, we just say Mary. So if we're gonna have a kind of a charter thing,
Yeah.
we're just gonna need to get that name right.
So let's go with French Creole Heritage District, St. Mary's Site.
Great.
All right, if that's all right, then since we had a call to question, that forces vote.
French
That's a
Creole
motion.
Heritage District.
So I'm gonna restate that.
You
So
have
I make a motion.
Yes.
You must.
Motion to adopt, for the adoption of the proclamation of the French Creole Heritage District
St. Mary.
Now say
Revitalization Project Initiative, St. Mary's Site, and improvements.
Is this it? And all right, there's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
Motion made, second, Alderman Jones, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, the motion has passed. That proclamation, we can work on it on work session after we get some budgetary stuff done. New business. This is a big one, big one. So we did an internal audit, so official results of this audit of water rates for the large consumption users versus residential users, and setting a bulk water rate schedule by amendment, adding into language of Bill 981. In your package, you should see pretty much a profit and loss on accounts. You're fine.
Right?
Yep. This is the one that we set up originally?
This is, you're talking about the last ordinance?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, 981 is the one that was signed off and repealed the rest.
So, I have a question for
Yes,
you all
Mayor.
at the beginning of this. The rate ordinance that you passed August 21st, 2025 for water rates repealed all previous water rate ordinances. Because that ordinance says all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed and this ordinance replaces them. So this ordinance set your rates for all usage. That nullified, I think, I'm not an attorney, but I think that probably nullified ordinance 981.
Good thing you did.
I do.
Yeah, that would be it, bill number 1015.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Remember, 981 is passed and approved on 2021.
Yeah, that's the
And
one.
you're talking about 2025.
And there was another one.
So 21 comes before 25, 25 comes after 21. So what are you saying?
That it would have canceled out ordinance 981.
Which would be 2021 would be canceled out.
Yeah,
So these rates would no longer apply.
I
That's
know.
what you're saying.
and there's a new rate of 2025 that's already been determined.
So do we have a copy of that?
That's-
Where's the following page? Right.
it that we're trying to do with this? Overturn it, change it?
No, we're trying to balance it out, Brian, because we gotta be in compliance with our bonds. They can pull our bonds. It's not burning anything, you're not getting charged to or whatever, it's not just you. It's not everybody. It was an oversight, and then everything else between somebody previously that was here, that's no longer here. Thank God. And so it caused this problem. So we've ended up having to pay more to the district, which then ultimately caused us to raise our regular residential
Yeah.
rates. So the town is supplementing the loss here where we shouldn't, you know what I'm saying?
And that's
So
because of that one person or one,
that person and oversight, and then even back in 2021, this is, I don't know what went on, and yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's gotta be a base, and it's not $36, whatever. We have to get in compliance because, and it pretty much broke down here.
well, sure, so my question was, what are we doing here to comply with what everybody is?
We need to amend, I guess, 1015, don't we? Or maybe, yeah.
If you're gonna change anything, the proper way to do that is to amend 1015.
Yeah.
And then 10:15.
Amend 1015, and I'd like to bring in Frankie on this because he was around during this initiative, because I've been working with him on this too, because it does add to the, we've been thinking it's a loss. It's not a loss, it is a loss, but it's not water in the ground loss. So Frankie, if with the board's permission,
Yeah.
Mr. Freeland, can Frankie reiterate on some of this?
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting on Frank.
So anyways, with the audit that you're seeing there, anyways, it's showing the water loss. So technically, whenever we have bonds issued that we're paying for because we did a utility project or anything, USDA, they do not like anything over 12%. They hate it. And anyways, turn around, when they start seeing that kind, and that's not even the whole water loss for the whole community. That's only water loss for certain meters. So the thing about it is what's happening is that water loss you're seeing there is basically 95% of water loss for the whole year of the whole town. If I put together a water loss for the whole town and the whole community, it's going to be even higher because of, one, fire purposes around leaks, water that's been used that we don't know about or anything like that. So what this is whenever USDA, if they come in behind us right now with the bond that we have issued to us, and they've seen that, then they're going to say, hey, you guys need to raise your rates, 20%, because you're losing money, and they don't like seeing when you're losing money, because they're afraid that it's going to take effect on that bond. So that's what they're trying to keep from. So this whole point here with the water meters and whatever, I don't know what Adam once explained or anything, but in my eyes, every meter that's in this town, every connection that's in this town should be a supplement minimum charge. So if there is water to a meter, if there is water to a meter setter that is in a yard or anything like that, it should be charged a minimum. And I don't know what the minimum would be set at, but it should be charged a minimum. So my thing is with that whole purpose is residential meters, yard meters, connections that are made for properties that's going to be built on or anything like that, there should be a charge on that. If there is not going to be a water service ever put on that, a structure put on that, or anything that is put on that ground to have an active meter, then the customer or whoever owns the property should go back to the main and kill it at the court because we're losing if we have a leak.
Yeah, let me dovetail on this, because the bond issue, and you're correct, is based on how many water meters are in the city of St. Mary.
Yes.
In order to pass the bond, when I was here, we had to have a water meter in everybody's property that had to be charged. So if I had a piece of property and there's a meter on it, but I didn't live there, I still had to pay the meter fee.
Now,
And so that's what that was based on. So really, the bond issue is not at risk as long as we have the original meters running. So for
That's not
example,
true.
but I was on and collecting, and I had someone call me and say, look, I've got a meter on my property, and I'm paying $36 a month for it, and I'm not using the water, and I'm not gonna pay it, I want to take it out. Our defense was, look, we can't take it out because we've just got a bond issue passed, and it's based on how many water meters we have. So unless we change that, we're not gonna be able to support the bond, or, you know, or that issue. And so that's how we've kept it all along. So have we dropped below the amount, the minimum amount of meters that we needed to float that bond?
So, the thing about it is with the houses and stuff, and this is just the thing, with all the houses that's been burned, tornadoes took out,
Yeah.
whatever, that is a loss on our part,
Okay.
because there's no water being used there. The other thing is too, is that the meters are still active. That water line is still active in
Yeah.
that main. So if there's no structure on that property whatsoever, if they're willing to pay the minimum every month, then that is a maintenance fee on the backside of it, is if a leak happens there, that cost is affected. Now, the thing about it is, there's meters out there, and which we're getting ready to go around to show Eric and the other ones of where these meter pits are at, because there's meter pits out there that nobody knows about, except for myself. Adam knows about them,
Yeah.
but the thing about it is, and then previous employees maybe knew about them, but there is some out there that's buried and you don't know about. I know in the previous winter time here, we had meters that were busted that's in these vacant lots. And one, they wasn't getting read because it shows inactive on the computer. The other thing is too, is that was a water loss, which we have to account as a physical water loss because it wasn't for fire purposes or anything like that, so it was a water loss. The thing about it is it was unaccountable water loss. So the thing about it is like fire use, all that, that's accountable. If I go out here and flush hydrants, that's accountable. The USDA and all that, and DNR, when they start seeing that, it's accountable for, it's no big issue. But whenever it's not being accounted for, that's where they have the issue. Because we're losing too much water. And then when we go after grants and stuff, if you see that being lost, then it's hard to get grants.
Where is it not being accounted for?
So what I'm trying to say is, every active meter that's in town, if they're live in the yard. From that water main to that meter setter, it should be accounted. And the thing about it is if a leak happens in between there to that meter, in which that's a vacant lot, and we don't look at that every day, anyways, and we're trying to find a leak, and then I'll say, oh, we got a water meter leak, or, service line leaking, and because the field's rode up or whatever, the thing about it is, whenever they abandon that property, or they turn around and the house burns down, they didn't, never one time physically you want to put another house on that or anything. Each utility should be abandoned back to the bank. That way we don't have that problem. The thing about it is like up in the subdivision, we have lots up there, it's got meter pits in them, meters, and anyways, they're vacant lots right now because they're not being built on them. They were tapped to the service. The thing about it is, who owns them? But the thing about it is too, is around houses here. So we have an ordinance, which I've seen it in there, it says that you can quit paying payments anyways on the water and sewer. But if somebody comes and buys that property or anything, it's a $300 or $400 connection fee, plus your deposit and everything to take that on. Well, that meter is not being registered at all. So if somebody goes over there and turns that water on, or if a leak happens in that meter, then that's a cost to the city of us having to pay for that for negligence. I mean, that's basically what it's coming down to.
So where is the loss, where are we not supporting the bonds?
Now, I'm just giving you guys out.
Yeah, I mean, Mary said that, yeah.
So your bonds come with a covenant. The city said these are the things that we will do to protect the investors that buy the bonds that you sold. And so part of the USDA covenant is that you cannot give free service to anyone. If you are not raising enough revenue to maintain and operate your system, then even the water that the city uses internally, you have to pay for. In your case, because you buy water from someone else, you don't make your own water or treat your own water, So for all of those meters, and like Frankie said, if you've got active meters or active services that are leaking that you don't know about, you pay the water district for that water.
Right.
And so that is being subsidized. A lot of communities in the state have been losing population for some time. You know, so I have one city that's got USDA debt that they've lost 22% of their population since the 2020 census. USDA doesn't care. You still have to make your payments. And so, you know, it's not based on initially, yes, they want to know how many people live in your community. What is your base fee going to be? What are your rates
Right.
going to be? If those base fees, the number of customers that you have changes, then that means everybody's rate goes up. So you have to pay your bonds and your reserves and those kinds of things.
And that's the way it's always been. So what you're saying is vacant meters are costing the city money. One, because we don't know if they're leaking. And two, we're not collecting on the meter fee that we said, we floated the bond. We
Right.
said we're gonna have 300 meters and now we only have 200 meters. And so we have to divide that money up. So what is water meters in the yard got to do with losing money?
They're not paying base fee.
Yeah. So the base fee is supposed to be what, $36?
No. Well, it's.
So your
well, I
base
feel
fee,
it.
and the way the city has it structured is that base fee gets you 1,000 gallons free. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, it's not really about the amount of water that goes in that base fee. What it is that is your fixed cost. That is a cost for your bond payment, that is the cost for billing people, that is the cost for maintaining your, service, fixed cost,
Right.
whether you sell a gallon of water or not. That is your guaranteed money.
So what we're looking at, then, a difference between here and here. And what we're trying to do is get there. So what's proposed for us to balance this out, Mr. Mayor?
So we did what we have found out, what you find in the ordinance. Because we need to, based upon now finding that we have to do an amendment to this, just based on just our meters itself, these are the ones that we found, it's, what, 13, 11? The base fee and all that.
Well, your meters are currently, we're set up as a flat 1311. And base fee for water is 36.40 and 16.21 for every 1,000 gallons after that.
So, and is that people that have yard meters?
Mm-hmm.
So if we increase this 5 people that have yard meters, is that going to balance out the difference between the water we're losing?
Well, it's not just gonna be the.
For the vacant lots? Because, first of all, the biggest problem is vacant meters. But the 5 things here, the money that we'll collect off of this, which comes to about $130 a month, is not going to balance this thing out. That's not the issue. The issue is the vacant meters and the meters that people are having their properties they're not paying a fee for at all.
Lack of oversight, because somebody shut the billing off, so no matter what reading we put in there, everybody was just getting 100,000 gallons for 1311.
Right, so that's what's got to be.
That was lack of oversight administration back then. Now we have to get that straight. And that's the end of it. Frankie's right, Mary's right, we all gotta work together to balance this out. This is a budget killer.
But the other thing is too, Ron, is whatever vacant properties there are, if they're, like I said, if they're not gonna have a house on it or anything, if they're taking the house down, the house burned, they don't even, both utilities should be abandoned at the mains
Shut up, yeah.
and shut off. So that way, there's no issue, because technically, on the backside of that meter, which we have a different ordinance up north, but the thing about it is we got down here, anything from that service line from that water main all the way to the meter is our responsibility. And it could be, 100 feet up in the yard or whatever, which is, in my eyes, is not right. But if that's leaking, we don't see it in your yard. If your meter's in your backyard, just like the incident up here at 351
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
water line was leaking, 95,000 gallons went through the water line, we didn't know nothing about it.
Where was their property line?
Huh?
For that leak, where was their property?
Oh, we're in the dead center, in the middle of the property.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, but we got an easement because we got a water main.
so why haven't we been working on fixing that? What's the issue where we have let that happen to us, where we're just being hosed for this water that's leaking everywhere from vacant meters or for whatever?
And we are fixing it, we've been going around fixing
And
it.
so what are we here tonight to do?
Here, what I'm saying is here's my whole point about it. Any meter that is still in the system, that should be a minimum fee if there's no water being used through. If they turn around, if they're vacant, and they turn around and don't plan on building on there or anything, it should be capped back at the main and be done.
So how do we fix that?
They would have to
You have to
cancel,
pass an ordinance to
pass
do
an
that.
ordinance for them to do that.
How deep is the main? 6 feet?
With the main should be, the new main, anything down here in town should be at 42 to 46 inches.
And Brian, this is not saying just by, this is like other accounts county too, this is just showing a lack of oversight at the time of transition and how much money the city has lost in revenues and then versus payouts.
Right, and whose fault is it? The city's.
It is.
And we need to get this straightened out, because coming here and listening to this makes me very nervous. We talk about this, we talk about it, and we're not fixing it. The issue, so we have to identify the issues,
Yeah.
and we have to fix them through ordinance.
And also-
And so let's get an ordinance written up where we can fix this issue, because frankly, you've been talking about this for quite a while, and so has the mayor.
Well,
This loss of water.
Well, and the thing about it is, you turn around, and that's where paperwork was being not where it should have been. We wasn't seeing what was on that paperwork. My thing about it is water loss. I was doing the water loss. I did it, and then they got taken over, and I never seen that paperwork no more.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what.
So who has that paperwork? Where's it taken over from?
That was taken over by city clerk.
Okay.
That'd be David was the guy got
But
arrested.
anyways,
And so he's been gone for 2 years. And so for 2 years, we've been running with this vacant meter issue and water leaking everywhere.
2009 you have been,
2009.
because that's when I trail it back, 2009.
Yeah. Looking from our reports since the mayor's been in office, and this is an observation of mine, we're losing less water now than we were 2 years ago,
Yes.
and even less water now than we were a year ago.
because it's
So there's some
usually-
improvements being made.
Mayor
But-
did that.
Yeah. So now we still have the same issue, and what we need to do is bridge that gap, and I'm asking, is it the vacant water meters, or is it the 6-yard meters that are costing us this problem? Because we can collect another $150 a month from yard meter owners,
Well,
but that's not gonna make the gap. He's talking thousands of gallons of water,
Yeah.
and that's our problem.
And what I'm saying is, each meter should be accounted for. I mean, just saying, it, regardless, each meter should be accounted for.
Yeah.
Anyways, across the board.
Yeah, so how do we approach this? We're going to write an ordinance saying this. What will be our mission to accomplish this goal of getting rid of the water we're wasting and we're paying for that's robbing our city every month?
Well, I mean,
What's the plan?
the plan is find an ordinance, find a happy medium where you don't pay sewer anyways on a yard meter, and then the residents will get with the bond, so, I mean, Mary you've done the water rate study, so you know.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, but I mean,
The
we're in the
biggest
black.
The biggest challenge in doing the water and the sewer rate study is marrying how many gallons you're paying for to the district, how many gallons you were billing for, matching that revenue up, tracking the treasurer's report through to your revenues and expenses, and that's been a challenge. So it really, there's some things that could be,
But I call from what you just said, the basic is, it's marrying the gallons to the district to match the revenue.
should match what you're billing for.
Yeah.
The gallons you are billing for. So then you take how many gallons you're billing for, and here's where your expenses are over
Right.
here to run the system. So you figure out what is your base fee, what are your fixed costs that you need to make sure you receive, whether
Right.
you sell a gallon of water or not. And then you figure out on your volume rate, here's everything else that we need to pay for, including you know,
I hear you.
yeah.
Okay, so this is what we need to define in our ordinance as far as collection, right? Because we need to collect on that volume, the wasted volume.
Yeah.
And we certainly can't go out there and tell the city they're gonna have to go pay for all this because we've wasted hundreds of thousands of gallons of water.
Oh, you do tell them that?
Well, I know, but I
Because
mean,
you have to pay the district.
well, I'm saying, we have to pay them, but I don't think that we need to look at them and say, we're gonna continue to have this problem of vacant meters and not being able to collect it. We're gonna charge all you guys for it. We haven't fixed it yet, but we're gonna charge you for it. I think we have to have an ordinance that says we're gonna fix this, and everybody should be participating or whatever, but it's very vague. We have a vague thing here.
So here's the notes that I made. An ordinance, so one, you need to address the ownership of your service lines. So it's either at the meter or at the property line, whichever is closest to the main.
Good.
So that if that, what do you think, Frankie, that way if they're in the middle of the property and they've got
So
an extra
the
100
way
feet.
we have it set in St. James Division is it's a foot inside the property line.
A foot inside.
Once you get into the foot inside the property line, it's
them, no matter where the
Even if the
meter is.
meter is all the way up
Right.
the house. It's-
So,
Yeah,
so your number one thing, Mary, is addressing the ownership of the meter, right?
not the meter, the service line.
Yeah, sir.
It's that pipe.
It's a-
You need to own the water meter, and the
I-
reason for that is you need to be able to turn it off. So the meter pit and the meter setter and the meter, they're bought by whoever puts in a new house, and then it's turned over to the city.
But how does that go to the vacant meter? That's what I was asking here. Ownership of the meter. So you're saying address that issue. So
So
here, and what
that-
we're hearing is the biggest issue right now is vacant meters.
Because we don't know if they're leaking.
Right, so,
And
so,
so that is an internal policy that those meters, somebody puts eyes on them.
and if it's vacant, it has nothing to do with the ownership of the meter, it has to do with us, the city.
Right.
Okay,
And
so,
if that lot has been vacant for more than 2 years,
okay,
I would dig it up and turn the cork off.
Yeah.
And pull the line.
yeah.
Because you also have to do 811 locates. So you have to locate all the water service lines in town whenever you've got fiber coming through or whatever. And, we had, I think, 3 crews in town at one time, and they just kept hitting service lines and lines that had been cut and capped off because we replaced even like a water main. We didn't know that there was a 2-inch main that had been capped off, 100 feet down the road. And, on a 12-inch, coming off a 12-inch water main made a big hole. So,
Frank, how many would you estimate that there are?
In town, so totally altogether, we had 240 connections when I started. Around, and then we went down because of all fires, floods, all that. We went down to 194. And then previously now, because after the tornado and all that, we went down to 160.
Is that counting
So you're down
the new
80.
yard meters we've had purchased?
Well,
So you will have to dig up 80 and cap 80
to the main.
to the main?
Good question. But that's where we're getting to. And Mary, you need to follow along with your research here because she's hitting a very good, strong point, addressing the ownership of the meters. And then we address the leak, prior to the meter, whatever. Addressing the vacant meters, capping those off, if there's 90 of them, we need to do that. What else did you have on your research?
so the other thing that I have down is the base fee, that you need to set the base fee for, if water goes through that meter, they pay that base fee. It doesn't matter if they use nothing
Okay.
or if they use.
So we
up to
adjust the
1,000
base
gallons.
fee, so everyone has the same base fee of
Everybody.
water. If they have a yard meter, pay the base fee, but don't pay the sewer still, they have to pay
Right.
the water base fee.
Exactly.
So that,
And my
that's-
question is, and Frankie, you probably know the answer to this, when they get a yard meter, does that come straight up from Maine, or does it come
So
after
it
the
comes,
regular meter?
off. Normally, if we can't put them on the main, we tie a T in to the service line.
After the meter,
No, before the meter.
before the other?
Yeah, so
Okay,
that way, we don't have to like dig across the road, it saves money, but it's coming off that service line.
okay.
But normally any yard meter there is, it's with a residential meter. So the residential meter is being paid for, the yard meter, you know. is-
They're separate.
But they're separate.
It's not a deduct meter, is what I'm asking.
The
It's
yard
not a
meter-
deduct meter, so, you know, like if you had one master meter and you set another meter behind it. and
No, they're both
They're both,
Yeah.
okay,
routed off
okay,
of it.
all right.
And they're both meters, so it tells you exactly what
Yeah.
gallons is used.
Yeah, so the yard meter tell you your gallons you use off of it, your residential meter. And anyways, your yard meter's just water, your residential's water is separate.
Right.
So
And-
go ahead.
And treated, and so, forgive me since I don't have a yard meter, I'm not familiar with the enumeration for it. So is the yard meter currently charged base fee of $13 plus?
No, it's just charged by the gallons you use.
Yes, it's about a gallon used. So like winter time, and that was the big issue with a lot of the things too, is like the yard meter was not charged a base fee at all throughout the whole year. It was only charged by the gallons you used. So 6 months out of the year, that meter's sitting. So, you know, yeah, it still gets checked whenever we read meters, just to make sure somebody
So
did.
if you set the meter at the base rate of $36, that would be for the first gallon, 1,000 gallons the meter uses, right? And would that be for the second 1,000 gallons the meter uses? Is it another $36 or?
No.
So basically what we're talking about with yard meters and what we're going to collect from the yard meters meeting that new code or whatever price is about $150 a month. And that's not,
$16.21
so these people are going to pay $16 something more a month or whatever.
1,000 gallons, for every 1,000
per
gallons.
gallon. So, but that's not solving the issue of the thousands of gallons of water that's being wasted. Because right now, we're still charging for the water, we're just talking about a meter fee. And we did float the bond issue on the amount of meters, and certainly that would look good to have 6 more meters that did $36 a month, but that's not the issue. The issue is the vacant meters and the line to the vacant meters and identifying those meters.
And also
It's
the
just
12 on
finding
this,
the water loss.
green, I'm not saying, Brian, your bill, some of these aren't billed right. So you're telling me, this is a fiscal year, so I use 289,000 gallons per se for somebody down there. It costs the city $4,686, and that resident paid $161. How in the hell is that adding up? That
Well,
math
is
don't
that something
math.
wrong with the meter or something, or what?
There is nothing wrong with that meter,
It was
they're all
the way it
billed.
was billed.
It's billed for 1311, no matter how much.
Somebody went in there and then plus it's been going on for years.
They didn't put the system correctly and it's been,
Yeah, because when I get my meter read at my house, and that'd be your.
I think yours is right, actually.
And
I think
I use 50 gallons of water, you charge me for 50 gallons of water. I don't
yours
know
is
how it
right,
works.
I think.
Yeah.
I think yours is billed right. isn't it?
I don't know, no, mine says total gallons used is 387,000 gallons, but you know, I've never used that in the life of my meter. My meter doesn't leak, and
That's a 12-month period.
it's a new.
Do I gotta spell it out crayons? I mean, goddamn.
No,
That's my friend.
Is this the gallons used in a 12-month period, 387,000?
Let's
Well,
see what you're.
And it could have been if you had a leak or anything at one
Okay,
time,
so
or.
this meter was read on June 25. This was the last reading. This is the total used in gallons for that
Those two.
year, however long. So this is how much the property owner paid.
Yeah.
This is how much the city paid for that water.
right,
Because they used this many gallons.
yeah.
And the district charges you for that.
So-
So basically, $6,000 was given to,
To Brian House, that didn't happen. It couldn't possibly happen.
Okay, I'll check your meter, and then if you're wrong, you
Yeah.
can pay $75.
I was saying that when we had these put in, and
Frankie,
Frankie,
pull his meter and check it.
well, the
I wanted to show this, and then.
well, I think we're trying to identify. I believe we should look at this. We're looking at wasted water, or water we have to pay for. We certainly have to look at this.
Yes,
I'm
I
just-
do. I wanna make sure your meter's right.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I had a brand new yard meter put in, and I paid the $750 or whatever it costs for the city to do it, and did pay my deposits. And the whole time I've used my meter, I've probably used
Brian, it's not your fault.
15 gallons or so a month.
It's
So
not your-
is that meter spinning to do the 3,000? I'm just wondering, how does it?
No, so what it is, so what your bill right there is showing,
Yeah,
whoever was in that software at the time
yeah,
they turn around and put it at the baseline.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
And anyways, when they was doing that, when we went back through and got it to the right, it showed what you used totally for the whole year, which is not right. So it's throwing the whole water system off, the whole budgeting of that water system.
You think they were trying to do something with that water?
Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
It's actually being used or wasted, the city's being charged for it, what do we do with it, you know?
It could have been a result, but it's assumption at that point, you know,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Exactly.
And that's why going forward, we have to
Yeah.
figure this out, you know?
But my thing is that what I do after I wash my mower is I turn my faucet off, and there's just no way that I'm using that kind of water. If there's a worry about this, I think that what we should do is we should address the vacant meter issue. That seems to be the one that's really happening here. And the line to the meter and to identify those things.
I think you do both.
I think it'll be motion for the body to take up the decision what they want to do.
It'll have to be both because,
Well,
you know, it's,
You
you have to.
I'm saying it is true, but the big issue is the vacant meters. Because whatever this yard meter thing is false, wrong information. It's been plugged in there by somebody, but it's just not, it's not the fact. It's not fact.
Okay.
It's not, we have, well, if we're gonna figure out, we have to look at it, that it's an impossibility. You know, so whatever we're paying for the water,
all I'm
we're paying.
saying, all I'm saying is I think in the city's eyes and everything, and you know, being what the system is and everything, that all meters in town that are active should be charged if they're not using water. If they're using water, a gallon. If they're using no water, but they're still live, they're active, they should be charged a base.
$36.
Basement.
Too bad.
We haven't.
We have every bit of 6 meters to do that. Let's do it.
That wasn't the base fee, Mary, is that based off what we have to do to pay the bond, or is that just
That's just what your rate is.
that's not what it actually, what you're talking about, just to
Oh,
cover our, but cover
yeah.
so it wouldn't be 36, right? It would be, could be lower.
I don't know.
I don't know, we would have to figure it out, right?
Yeah,
That's,
we need it.
so assumptions of 36 is totally incorrect. So, and assumptions of meter spinning, so take one of my brand new meters, put it in his, and then send it to Midwest Meters, because I want to prove that that meter's wrong or right and within the spec.
Right.
Because being called incorrect, because math don't lie, this is preferential treatment and city oversight. And where we're beating around the bush here, I call for main motion. Stay on topic, let's get this figured out.
I second that.
You know, yes, my mom's been paying for 25, 30 years for sewer that isn't hooked up, but she still pays the flat rate. But do you see her in here throwing a fit? No. And she's a widow.
I tell you what, I've been here 25 years and I pay my water bill on time every month, and I pay my yard meter and everything else just like I should. There's no favoritism here. I'm saying, how in the world could a meter that's been new and put in there generate a 350,000 gallons usage in 1 year when it's not been running? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, are you going off by this, the numbers?
Yeah.
These are the reading
Gallons
numbers.
used. I see the readings, but,
That would be like 32,000.
right. And then this right here would be what the city's paying for the water, and this is what I paid for the year. And that, you know, that didn't happen.
It's a $6,000.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's a mistake. And I was trying to find out who is the one that did this. And
Give us your opinion, you're the water guy, you were doing the analysis. Rose and I saw the note that the treasurer said, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And we gotta figure it out, so we gotta write an ordinance. What is your suggestion on fixing this thing? So we stop
Fixing the
trying to
whole,
do
fixing the whole issue is with all of them. Any meters that are out there, that should be charged a minimum or whatever. If there is sewer on the residential property, it should be based on the sewer and water, because if you disconnect one connection, you're gonna have to disconnect all. So the other thing is too, the vacant meters. The vacant meters are out there that's on these lots that houses burnt down or whatever. personally, in my opinion, the residents should have had that abandoned whenever, if they're never gonna build again. But if they are gonna build again, or they're keeping the property, and they wanna keep the water service and the sewer service, they should be charged baseline too. Even if there's water from that main to that connection and where that meter goes, they should be charged that.
And then,
Because when you said that, the big thing that kind of holds us is when that meter is abandoned, that owner should sign off saying,
Yes,
so the city doesn't get stuck with it, so when you go in there and dig that and shut it off.
well, and the
it's
thing
done.
about it is, so the way it works at other places is if the customer turns around and says, hey, we're getting rid of this building, we are never gonna have water service to it again, then our protocol is, you get the contractor to abandon the water and the sewer all the way back to the main. Anyways,
what's
but
time and labor on doing something like that?
that just
You
depends.
said there's 80
It depends.
connections, right?
That just depends on where it's at. So if the main's next to the road, it wouldn't take that long at all. But if it's out in the middle of the road, that's where we're gonna have to cut the road, pavement,
Yeah.
asphalt.
Yeah.
Oh.
If it's on the other side of the road, underneath the road, that's pavement.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about cutting and severing the line underneath the road. The only thing I worry about is right at the main and killing the cord. That's the only thing I worry about.
But Third Street, me and Eric did one 2 hours, and it was in the middle of the street, 5 foot out in the street. That's what they did with me.
So basically, three-fourths of the day times 80.
If you done it Mark
So
right,
it's
I
gonna be
mean,
about 60, 70 days.
give or take, I mean, and some of them are already filled from the last few years of repairing leaks of abandoned ones. We filled them at the port.
Well, I would,
So we reduced the losses of thousands of gallons.
Millions, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know what you did,
But
but you did do it.
I would just run a
They were-
tally
They were.
and then cross them off and
Yeah,
do.
and they were.
And that way, you have a thermometer, how many more we have to do.
It's all copper and stuff, holes everywhere.
But the other issue I have too with the water system, the other issue I have, and I said it before, I don't know how many times I said it, but anyways, that meter up there at that pit, whenever I read it, that's coming into the town to go into that tower, to both towers. So physically what we're using and what's holding in them towers is two different scenarios. So my thing about it is that master meter outside that tower of showing the water coming into town is a big plus because I can take that number, by that number, and then I can take the number for the whole month, and that's gonna give me my whole water loss. If there's a big water loss, if it's a small one, if there's water being used, if we sold bulk water, I mean, that's gonna take that whole scenario.
So the ordinance will be to tap off water lines at the main, vacant meters at the main, period, right?
You'll have to budget so much, it'll take several years to get it all done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not,
And we can't blame the past anything, we just have to take care of it now.
right.
And that, identifying the issue is what we're trying to do here. It's difficult, Frank, it's difficult, Mayor. We just have to talk through this to get to where we are right now with Dr. Duda saying, let's make a plan.
That's what.
Yeah, you have like a 3 or 5 year plan, so
Yeah.
that's 10 meters a year.
So here's my point of the whole situation. If there's vacant meters out here and there's property owners that still own them, vacant properties, they mow them, they do whatever, and there's meters on there, they should be contacted through mail or anything, certified letter, saying, hey, look, you guys ain't gonna build a house on here, it's your responsibility to cut and gap.
That's-
Now, if it's an abandoned meter out there that or abandoned line out there that nobody owns, the county owns it, we own it because of, then we take care of it.
So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna vary, the price of that's gonna vary from person to person. So, I mean, you have to, like, if I was Joe Blow and you just presented me like that, my first thing would be like, no. And number two would be, how much is it gonna cost? And then, it depends is not a good answer. You know, you could say, well, basically, it's 4 hours labor and whatever it is, you know, our nut is on that, that's what we have to cut, so.
On this plan that you suggested, the 2 or 3 year plan, Mary's outline, what you just went over, should be identified in that plan, I think. If we were just to follow this, put it in there. and then set up a plan where we can do 10 meters a year, or 15 or 20 or whatever we want to do. At least we know we're doing it and we're budgeting for that. We've gotten to the root of the situation, and that is getting an ordinance to address the issue. And I think that's the best we could do as a governing body for our city.
Yeah, if there's 60 lines, then, or it's 60 hours to do all of these. So would that be about right? That's about 2 weeks solid work.
Like I said, it depends on
Yeah.
what's in the way.
Understandably, yeah. But somewhere 2 to 3 weeks, so if you do a week a year, total cumulative labor and stuff like that, then that would knock it down significantly. And since we're talking about that, I mean, you mentioned water loss with that. How, in your experience, when you've seen this or done this, is it pretty often that you see water leaking at one of those lines, the connection between the meter and the main?
Disconnected between the meter and the main.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen it happen quite a few times.
okay.
Anyways, it just depends on what material's in the ground and what kind of acid's in the ground with the copper. I mean,
Right.
take for instance over here on Cedar Street, that was 3 different times that line leaked. I wanted to fix it the first time right,
Yeah,
but it was basically, hey, we don't have the money, we need to patch it. So
right.
that's what happened.
So we're gonna have standardized approach to this too, like we're gonna use PEX only or a copper only or whatever it happens to be, whatever the standard is these days. That's going forward, that's how we're gonna do all of these. And we're gonna have this type of shut off at each one so that we know what to expect, we know what the technical specs are, the lifetime of it, et cetera. And it's recorded so we don't have surprises like we
Exactly, which identify that, the ownership of that, who has it. Then Mary's outline, and then if you want to go ahead and in that ordinance, put in that part of the solution would be to make all meters, whether they're a yard meter or a house meter, pay the same rate for the meter, right? And that's gonna bring in $150 more a month. And that'll help balance that.
And then they'll pay the volume fee as
And
well.
after 1,000 gallons, you'll pay $16 a gallon or whatever, I mean, $16 every thousand. So that would be written in there. So as a city, our approach would be, this is how we're going to try to solve this problem. And we started with the problem, frankly. The problem is that the bond issue, the bank, the people that are holding this bond require us to have so much income to match the usage, right? And that's really the end result, is what we're trying to do, is balance that out. So rephrase what you said in the beginning about the bond issue. That what they're expecting, I mean, I'm just saying what I heard from you, but I don't know if that's the right word or not. But the bonding company expects us to raise a certain amount of revenue in order to keep qualified for the bond issue we have, right?
To protect that bond.
To protect
That's
that bond.
That's what it's doing.
That language has to be in the ordinance. That has to start the ordinance out. That's the requirement, and this is what we're going to do to make it reality, right? And so would you please repeat, Mary, the 3 things that you said earlier that you thought we should do in the process?
We'll clarify the ownership of the service line
Okay, clarify ownership.
so that it's, I think a foot past the property line is appropriate. That way there's no question. They get meters, if they want to keep their line, that's fine, but they have to be responsible for any water going through that, whether they've got a property or a house on that or not. The base fee needs to be the same for everybody and volume charges apply. I think it would be good to have a demolition requirement so that if somebody has a fire or you do tear a house down, this is how you cut the service line off, so that that's all part of your demolition process. And then standard specifications for service lines that go into the future.
This would have been a good thing, Leslie, to get into our minutes so that we could put together an ordinance.
Yeah.
You got it?
It's on the
Oh, you want to put it there?
And I'm recording.
And so in the final would be a goal that we would set, you know, and a budget line that we'd add to our budgets on repairing all this stuff, ultimately. So that would be a new line for us. And identifying the cost, frankly, would come from you as far as what we think we're gonna have to pay to fix scheduling. And scheduling. It's a big undertaking. It can be done. Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask that we table this. This is too big a project to try to handle in one. We need to do this in a work session. It isn't gonna be many work sessions to handle
It's
all
a
this
draft
stuff out.
ordinance language
Yeah,
in front of you
right.
to consider.
And then we pick what needs
Yeah.
to deal and speak with Frankie on what we actually, maybe resident expert.
And I would like to have Mary, if she would be willing to help consult with this as well.
Yeah, and this was just a rough outline of procedure, of an approach, and so that we can identify that ordinance. If we needed another work issue, thing to do, we can, but I think Mary's got it down, Pat, Frank does, and the mayor does, on what we need to do.
So,
Put it in black and white.
So
regarding Mr. Freeland's motion,
he's got a main motion on the floor, taking half of the whole body to table this, so is there a second to his motion? So we can table it to reiterate a work session and build off on
I second that.
the language, that's what he's wanting to do.
Right.
So we all work together, get the right language, work with Mary, get everything together so we can go forward, not backwards.
Right,
Right? Okay.
I second that.
Motion made, second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passed for tabling to work session until further notice.
That was a session.
That was you talking
Well, I was trying to identify, because I for some reason never knew this, but I did, I just want to say, in following up with what the mayor's been doing, is I've watched us reduce our waste and our usage of water by thousands of gallons over the last year or so. And I was just asking, is that from the same approach that we're looking at doing, or?
We're working it that way, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just continuation. The
Yeah.
last time we had this is because it wasn't to bury people in debt, it was just so residents weren't offsetting, you, me, and everybody, our own water bills for our house weren't offsetting other people's losses.
Yeah.
Not paying
Hey,
for
Frankie.
getting free water.
Frankie,
Yes, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing personal,
what's
it's
your
just we
email?
have to
Can you
equal balance.
Well,
Send me your email
I've seen a reduction
address
in
and we'll
waste,
get
so
some
I-
direct language
Oh, yeah.
together, I'll send it to you.
And I did the request of the first great water study since 2009, and after me and Frankie, and it was over 1.2 million gallons we saved the first year, which is quite a bit. So we had holes everywhere. I mean, it was just,
No, I remember before I was on the board, I asked, why do we have, why are my rates, why am I paying for these different things when we have a million gallons lost?
Because we
More in some cases than we have. So,
That's so big, right? We might have to take it from the-
DULLANGE, is that a one? Angel, full angel, send it to.
it's
Guaranteed,
I don't like this.
guaranteed, you will be resolved.
I didn't,
We
dang.
are held going to be held.
I was for what you
Very, very
did.
That's why they're right here.
now on this.
Money other people don't
Oh, yeah,
share.
sure.
So I think that'd be a Talking about the same thing over and over
Do you
again.
We don't really want
want
to-
to?
I didn't want to, yeah, all this stuff we got in.
Right.
Say, keep on moving.
Number 8.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet that I.
On the senior reimbursement fund, Section 8, senior reimbursement funds, we received some, we got some more comments. We gotta create a separate account, I believe, and I gotta check on that, I was talking to them today, because those are reimbursements from what was already spent for this
I'm
project
just
here.
going by what I was told by the lady that I knew that.
Who's that? And I will have her. So, we got how much sitting?
148 and some change out of there.
Should
top
be
of my
on,
head.
did Kobe not do a reconciliation on that? Should be a deposit amount of how much money?
Yeah, with all of our deposits are not shown, it just shows the totals. I can go pop it open if it's done updating.
Yeah, because it needs to be restated, so everyone knows what has
Yeah.
actually occurred. This is a big, big thing.
This is a big thing.
Yeah.
This is one of many big things.
Right, it does.
This is why I wish our treasurer had this.
Remember, you sent that email
But if it's,
Rose and I was
that's when you'll start controlling.
pertaining to things like this. We gotta separate them out, work on them, and get them where they need to be, so we don't.
Yeah, 10%.
That's what he was saying.
Well,
Why are you moving? Why are you moving?
Yeah, but you
I
use
read all
both
this.
meters for that.
Sunday, looking around, 25.
That's why I didn't even talk about the set up.
Marriage, you know.
In my mind,
$148,132.20.
That's what came in new.
I'm sorry?
Is that what came in new?
Yeah, so he says that we'll pay me.
And out of the money that we borrowed.
148,132.20.
We paid, we still got a down payment on the application.
They've been paying our, they're out completely.
Yeah, but have we made a big chunk
I was
payment?
told we had a separate bank account.
So I gotta see that, first step in the bank. Yeah, I just started saying, I'll get more out of this flag.
I agree, we should have a base fee for the
All right.
water meter too. Right now, we just pay by the gallon.
I'll reiterate, come back around with her, so.
Maybe we should.
So I would,
I like this
take
big old
the full
thing.
base release. We redirect.
All right, well, let's redirect the agenda. So,
Back to the agenda.
I'm gonna call point of order and return back to agenda, please, so we can get through this. I'm gonna do it.
My question.
Let's get back to the meeting. You guys done?
Everybody done?
Yeah. So we're redirecting back to bullet number 8 on unfinished business. Mr. Mayor?
All right, so we received so far, not counting the other ones I haven't had, but we just got a recent disbursement, $148,142.62. 20 cents, I'm sorry, 20 cents.
It's 132, right?
And is that out of, so it's 148,000 and we had a total of what, 500 something coming in? Or 300 or?
It was, that's a separate project, this is a reimbursement for wastewater costs from last year.
All right.
Labor, parts, things like that. Because we received the Delta Regional Authority
Yeah,
and the 7.2 million bonds,
right.
so we can't use both as double dipping of federal funds.
Okay.
So they made an allocation, but we have to put this money into a separate account, and the board has to make a motion to do so, so she can get that as a, in the minutes.
So you need a motion to create a second account to deposit this new disbursement.
To move, yes.
All right, and, fine.
Or can we use the surplus or not? The one we had.
And this money's from wastewater management.
Yeah, that's just part, I still got category C.
All right, and then, so, okay, so that's the issue. I do have a question, and that is, we took a loan out for Joker's Road, and we were waiting on FEMA funding to come in from that. Is any of that come in?
That's not this part, we have one before that, and then we got two more coming. I'm stuck at the state level right now.
I guess what I'm asking is, we have this loan, and when can we pay it back? Do we have we been reimbursed enough monies to pay our loan off?
Not total principal yet. We got money coming, but like I said, there's two other disbursements on that.
And how far along the line, are we 30% paid back, 50% paid back, or?
You know,
We paid $1,400.
No, I'm talking about the total amount of the loan.
yes, the total principal. You
I think
know,
we're paying interest over now. The interest payment.
yes,
No, just
what is the
what I'm
total
saying is,
amount?
we have a loan
I
of,
don't have that information.
okay,
It's just an account.
can you prepare that for us, so we
No,
know where we're at
Yeah.
on it, because we'd be nice to pay that off quickly. So,
Here, bro, we talking about, we're talking about two different things here.
yes,
And we should only be talking about one thing about the same
I
amount.
was asking for clarification.
Clarification, yeah, so
Yeah.
we all know.
Yeah,
None of it's crazy, wow.
so, and then I'm gonna finish category Z, and I'm waiting on the other.
What is
three.
category Z?
Administrative costs, like when you met with FEMA or SEMA, that's all taken into account. There's up to 5 to 8% of the total project cost of all projects. So that could be another, I think, 30 or 40,000 after they take the insurance. A lot of this is being deemed because their insurance company, we did get quite a bit for the park when it got damaged, even though it was underinsured.
Right.
But that takes an account in FEMA because they take those insurance. And so I have one appeal in, and I won one. And I got a second one in, I'm just waiting on it to review it.
Excellent. All right, so you're asking for us, the board, to approve creating a separate account for this disbursement that we received of $148,162.
And any other disbursements from FEMA going forward, that way it's
Is this
all
FEMA or
streamlined.
SEMA?
They're the same, FEMA and SEMA work hand in hand.
Okay.
And the main reason that is so pertinent is because we come up on the physical end of the fiscal year. We can't be running with funds, we gotta keep 26 in one,
Yeah.
27 in the other.
And the reason, and I said, going forward, the other ones that come in, that way we don't have to keep getting it on record, on minutes. That way she can get this money deposited and not be holding it and offsetting our funds. So,
I would make a motion to create a separate account for the SEMA reimbursement funds board, for the SEMA reimbursement funds, so that disbursements can be funded out of that account, and it's easier to keep track of.
Second.
motion made and second, all in favor. Any opposed? All right.
All right, and number 9, Hustler X1.
That's the mower. Sent that out to you guys, but
You said you haven't had a response from that from us.
no,
That was $2,200 for a motor replacement on it, or?
it was with the labor, and that was from Perryville, and then, whatever, Perryville Outdoors and Fleets. And internally, we're around 1,800 and some odd dollars set on there for internally buying engine and us doing it ourselves. So the frame is good, somewhat, it does have a few bearing issues, but they can be greased and they need an idler. But other than that, I mean, it still mows. It's got 10% less compression on it, on one side versus the other. So this had an issue before. And
It's burning a lot of oil, and
Yeah, 2019. They
So it's at the end of its maintenance life unless we act on that. Where would we get funds for this?
We have those reserves that, if you look on your line item, that we, hang on, let me look. I'm not used to having my binders, I'm sorry.
Did we get, different quotes from places?
Yeah, so Haven Hall Fleet, so usually we take it to them and service it, and they have all our service records. So, and they were actually higher, go figure. The only place I didn't call was Codwell's or that, because they typically, their backlog like 4 months.
So do we have paperwork that shows that we
No,
have?
I got an email, I turned it off for you, because I emailed police or that, because we can talk to the service department for like part numbers and stuff like that, because like, police, we don't really typically deal with fear of outdoors, only if police don't have it, because it came from police initially, it was bought new there, so that's why we usually get everything there, because they have it there. I mean, some things we do get online, like Amazon or another, because they're cheaper, almost 80% cheaper, and it's the same, grade, same brand, it's just, like any business, they mark up.
Yeah.
So we save, quite a bit.
This, normally, what part of the budget is capital equipment purchase for mowing coming out of?
We never, well,
I mean, it's a street, it's a park, is
yeah,
it?
street park, cemetery, you have buyout, you have, there's different areas.
So let's use to service all those areas.
Yeah, it can be, and the bush hog does some of it, some of it, they get close like your trees and that, and the strips and stuff that the tractor can't get into.
Yeah.
So, it's called, what's its name?
So street has, so far, year-to-date, budget use is 50%, and we have $20,588, or $21,000 remaining, right? So that's in general funds, the monthly budget report. Well, that's in May.
That's made up of it, June, here, so,
Okay, June, street is 52% used, you have $20,052 in there. So what money comes out of street to go where?
she allocates, like, between wages, parks, needs, things like that. Between who's working in the street, like if there's a road
So
there.
it's part labor, it's part
Yes.
maintenance and equipment, et
Like,
cetera.
if you read that, yeah, the ordinance states that,
How many more months do we have for the budget? July, August, September?
September 31st.
We have 3 months,
Whatever.
so that's less than a fourth of a year.
Yeah.
We're at 52%, so there seems to be some cushion to be able to pull 2,000 or 1,800 out. It's going to be more than 1,800 because you have 1,800 for the motor, and you're probably going to have a day to two days of labor.
Well, more on that, it's a rear discharge, that's got a lot more. You got your hydraulics and everything.
So is it 3 days of work?
Oh, I think, yeah, about 3 days.
All right, so that's going to get you up to 2,200 again, which is equivalent to what an outside maintenance vendor is going to charge us. Is that right?
Yeah, great, yeah.
So,
I mean,
so you're not really, if you're spending 3 days labor and $1,800 for a motor, the net wash is, it's almost like a zero gain.
and they'll pull
Plus-
people away from other task.
Yeah, so it probably makes more sense to use an outside vendor for it, because not only do they get all the responsibility for it, but it cuts down on our risk of employees smashing his thumb, or, you know, something else not getting done, and it ends up costing us too, so maybe smarter to have to pay out, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree, I mean,
So I would, if it checks out that we have the wherewithal to pay out the street, do we need to amend the budget, or just take it out of that because it's used for street roads in the fields adjacent to the streets?
I think we can take it out of the county road tax too.
Well, check on that for greater clarity.
The county road tax fund, we can use it as,
Okay.
you know,
So I would make a motion to repair the Hustler Wanderer discharge mower using an outside vendor.
or you want to repair it, or you want to get a different use for it? What do you want to do?
Well, you didn't say anything about a different use one.
On my tax, do you want to replace it, or do you want to repair it? That's what I said.
What's the amount again? I'm sorry.
They offered us $2,000 for it. They got a used one up there, next one is 2019, less hours. The problem is the rear discharge. Cody and whoever bought this, that's made for golf courses. Rose probably knows this. That thing clumps up everywhere. I mean, it's not a normal mower, it's made for golf courses too. And it gets stuck everywhere. So, that's why we try to draw.
Yeah, do you have, markers?
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah, I do, parking.
For sure.
Sorry.
All right, so mower. Repair, 2,200,
Yeah.
and that was,
Okay.
and then you're saying that you can also buy another
They
unit?
said, Fleet offered us 2,000 trade-in on it. Because we bought it new from there, we've had service there, we buy all the parts there.
Yeah,
They have all the records.
yeah, but
So
what are
you-
you really getting at?
You in a recess?
Huh?
You in a recess?
No.
Oh, did Brian come? Okay.
We need an error.
I'm sorry.
Trade-in was 2,000,
Yeah.
and then what's the other option? Trade-in on what?
2019, we're like,
How much is that?
3,500. They won't work because it was a demo unit.
So that means 1,500?
Yeah.
So we did 2019, 1,500.
If you trade it, yeah. If it's still there, I don't know. It's up at the other fleet, the big one of the.
Ludington,
Huh?
Ludington,
Yeah, you called on it.
yes,
It was 35, right?
it was 3,500 for that one.
Yes. And,
Well-
and it's a right-hand discharge.
So we keep the old unit, and it would be, what, $700 more?
I don't know, it's just like a catch-all, you know, it's just,
Well, the outlay is 1,500, and then we unload the piece of equipment that's now worth.
you know, so that means we put a significant amount of money in that thing this year. Significant. I can go pull it.
What is significant?
Like probably close to $2,000 in repairs.
That we did?
Yeah.
So that's our labor?
Our labor, pulling away and everything else, you know.
And this is our warranty with this 2019 one?
Did he offer a warranty on that?
We're gonna buy an extended warranty for $300 for 18 years.
They had a couple different models, so.
Well, this raises a concern for me too. And I know you guys heard me ask this before. The old saying is, you gotta stop using those mowers for these big lots or these properties down here, these buyouts, where we can use brush hog. Because that's tearing, wear and tear on our mowers and it's eating the crap out of them.
Does it tear your mower up when you guys be able to mow across from your mom's house? Because, I mean, it's the same principle, that's where it's going. It manicures the grass.
But
I know,
this is a
they go
bigger
across from
lot.
time.
I mean, these are big, this is a bigger lot over here, and a lot of these buyouts are bigger lots.
They mow it, and you don't just mow it in, but around the trees, we use it there return.
But I mean, well, yeah, I understand that, but we need to use the bush hog
That's what we
in
use.
the bigger
Yeah.
areas.
Joey's doing that sometimes, right over there, and.
Well, the last time we talked, you said that they weren't.
Because the bush hog was down, we had to use what we had to use, I mean, we don't have, so we gotta mow, right? I mean,
I asked him, what
We
the
need to
bush
call
hog
a
is.
recess then, right, and walk out.
why didn't he walk
It
out?
wasn't me.
He didn't ask
Instead of
permission.
to get some air.
He didn't ask permission. Yeah, is there a motion to recess?
We'll take a 5-minute recess. I make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Ah,
All any opposed? Okay. And I see what you're saying, Rose, about that lawnmower, I do. But down there, they don't, but down there, down by my house, it's iffy. There's there's one people take care of their lawn. You know, we just mowed over there, push off, and then by Tom knives and everything like that, because I just threaded and sharpened the blade on the push off and check everything out, like.
No, that one guy's over here, yeah, one guy comes over here and he mows that property,
Who?
city property. Across from my dad is, that property's right across there. The guy
Ponder?
lives- No, not Ponder.
You mean Tom Knight?
No, not Tom Knight, it's the guy that lives up in the, that trailer, that yellow house, that orangey mustard cow house. He comes down and mows that property.
Over here.
He just started doing it. He's got a yard service or something.
Is that what he is? Oh,
He
right
comes
below.
down because his kids play there a lot,
Oh,
so he comes down and mows that all the time.
oh, nice.
And the reason I like mowing that area is, one, it's a helicopter, you know, in case they need to land.
So you recess now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two.
5 minutes.
So tired.
Ready to adjourn?
Yeah,
Can I make a motion?
yes, go ahead, motion to re-adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, second, Alderman Jody, all in favor?
Aye.
So, while we stepped out, we were reviewing the mower stuff.
Yeah, I heard that.
Good. So it's $2,200 to repair, 18 if we do it in-house, plus, as I meant, you were here then, that the risks tended to repairing it's cheaper to have someone else do it. And it frees us up. He also mentioned that there's another plan B, would be to trade in the existing unit, which is a rear discharge that hasn't been that satisfactory. And they have a 2019 Hustler mower for sale for $3,500, so we would have to only up $1,500.
And now we're putting some new money in the budget here, we have some cash.
Yeah, we have, a little bit of reserves, we do.
So now the question is Hustler versus that, what's the pros and cons?
Pros are the side discharge works better at cutting and mulching, it doesn't clog up. You know, like the graveyard, for instance.
Right.
If you let it get too out of control, it looks like it's making corn rolls. Right. The other thing is it wears out. I mean, there's not a lot there. I mean, there is, but there isn't. But like I said, we've replaced quite a bit on it. Fleece knows that.
Is the Hustler more, the 2019 Hustler, is that more economical to maintain
Yeah.
than the other one?
Oh,
why?
yeah, because it's like mine, you can disconnect the deck a lot easier versus that rear discharge where you can't, you gotta take all kinds of stuff apart. You just see the service filter on the hydraulics.
Alright.
Does that make sense? Like
So-
your deck, you pulled off, right? Easy access. This one, you have to jack up. Right. And lift it up and do a lot of different things.
So does the board have the authority to approve the purchase of this?
Yeah, the board has to
2019?
to make the board, yes, the board has to approve or whatever you guys decide to do.
Your thoughts?
So put it in there.
Purchase, what do you say? Two guys and purchase.
All right, so I make a motion.
You're not in session.
Oh, we're not in session.
Did we just adjourn?
Well, we re-adjourned back into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're back on the record.
Yeah.
We're back on the record, yeah.
Yeah, we made a motion and it was
He
seconded.
was talking so much you didn't hear it.
Okay.
So I would make a motion to trade in our existing rear discharge for a 2019 Hustler side discharge,
Rebuilt.
which is going to, net cost on our end is going to be $1,500, which is $700 less than repairing the existing unit, and we're getting a fresher unit for it.
Now, to second that,
All right?
there was one thing, one caveat, that we
Yes.
keep a maintenance report on it, so we know the day we bought it, and what we need to do, probably do it to it.
Great.
We're good.
Now, do we decide if we're gonna put the warranty on it or not?
Yeah, instead of warranty, and here's the other question.
18 months.
Yeah, so
If that unit is sold, do we come back to the drawing table of what they have in stock?
well,
This was
we can't really,
2 weeks ago. I mean, I don't know, I'm not the salesman, they're not gonna hold stuff.
yeah, of course.
When did he say he called and talked about it?
2 weeks ago,
Oh, 2
yeah.
weeks ago.
But I can't, when I sent that text out, when we called around, was checking to see, and trying to see if there was a way to fix it. It's
Right.
really usually has parts, but yeah,
Well-
head off and everything.
The motion stands as it is, and,
There's a second on it, but I know the way you're articulating it, I just want to make sure there's not 2019 there, I can't legally just get one. If it's
So how can we handle that if,
We would
If
have
it's
to,
not there.
if it's not there, we would have to reconvene. Mary, how would you do that, actually? So if that unit isn't there, if we trade in our old mower and that was there 2 weeks ago, if it's not there now, but they're still gonna give us 2,000 for trade. Let's say that we go and have another unit that's 2,000 instead of 1,500, but the only proof the trade-in was 1,500, how would you do that?
So, the motion might be that the council authorizes you to trade in your existing mower and spend up to a certain dollar amount for a new mower, of similar age and,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to see, so it's not verbatim, like 2019 yellow, it has to be yellow, you know.
yeah, so I make a motion, I retract the initial, the one I made earlier, and substitute it with a motion to, exchange our existing mower for another used mower of comparable value,
Yeah, that makes sense, okay.
and with an outlay of approximately $1,500 on the
I'll second that.
Alright, motion made, and seconded, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion is passed.
All right.
So, do wonder the ceremony, I forgot, I already brought that up, my bad.
Oh,
I would like to, go back and, make a motion or two.
we can amend that with there's another motion, accessory motion to amend the one we just made with an allowance for a service contract.
I just wanna make sure. And the board service records. Are you guys okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Alright.
All right, 10, review and approval of water line movement and authorization for such request. What's that?
Yeah, it's in your packet. So I took care of that after everything because I was with the chamber making demands to city staff to formulate a letter on my behalf and your behalf, authorizing them to do something they're not allowed to do. I'm not bringing it up because of the NDA and the legalities in it, because I know where this is gonna go, but at this time, you'll see a letter I did send to that developer of that said,
Hubbard Enterprises?
yes, but keep everything at a minimum because of the NDA agreement they have. So, and then there is an email I had Leslie sent back to her after repeated request not to ask staff to write a letter on behalf of the board and that authorizing certain things they cannot do and without checking with the water district, Frankie, and everything else to make sure any change orders that to be made and our recommendations, which still gives us rights over our utility and we're not absorbing any costs versus what their preliminary had. So we have their legal department for review and for acceptance. They accept it, but Joanne, I asked them, it's on email, to have the chamber officer to stop doing this. And I know everybody talks to her, I really don't care, but it's on record, it's on file, she said we can't stop the seller from doing this. So I had her write an email to her, so it's on record, requesting her to cease and desist that, because this is city business, it's our utility line, it's not theirs, and it's our decision, right? And
Right, so we're just wanting to move forward, help
Yeah.
them move forward. This
That's all we're
is going to
doing.
keep things
fluid and streamlined.
properly aligned with our engineer and our city ordinances with water handling.
So it's been taken care of, but I wanted you guys to be aware, this has been an ongoing issue for how long?
2 or 3 weeks.
Because I did not feel comfortable just writing, you can just do what you want. After I read the grid, there was, and Frankie seen it too, there were things that were incorrect in the change order, like hydrants. Hydro chlorination, why are you doing it this way when you could be doing this way? So we don't violate the contract with the district and all the other stuff, and they shut our water off to the whole town because,
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure everything's in line.
yeah, understood and
So,
appreciated.
but that's where we're at. They
Okay,
accepted it, that legal, so there.
all right, number 11, authorization for the city of St. Mary to review permit costs and fees to align with local averages of other fourth-class cities.
I would like somebody, if they would, or at the work session, kind of go around and see our permit costs, or like based on lighting, everything you do, like excavation, building, all that, there's a whole list in there. And
Does that include business licenses and stuff like that, or?
no, this is like special, is it business license on that one, or not? It's a lot of it's specialty, like excavation, demo, like that whole list in there, not business license, I paid 35, but, or whatever it is, it's,
Permit schedule.
yeah, permit schedule, all that one that was on the wall in there, Brian,
Yep,
it's from like
That's a lot.
1970,
Yeah,
it's so, yeah. So we kind of need to like, review that, we can do that work session, so.
Okay. All right, number 12, enforcement of ordinance violations and debts owed to the city and to take all available remedies for collections, liens, etc. per ordinance and retain special law firm for said collections and and actions needed as state law allows. And this was brought up because we do have a city attorney we've been using, but it doesn't appear that there's been any forward movement on helping the city collect or handle these issues. Is that right?
Yeah, there's approximately $12,000 over the city just on one side alone from skip jumps and prior city attorneys back in the 2000s there and everything, there's records on that on the minutes. They referred them to there, including Judge Emmett, employed as attorney for us here. He would see collections.
He would aggressively collect
Yes,
them.
and also help with things like we're dealing with the HOA chamber, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
So do you have another attorney in mind?
I wanted you guys to see if you had a consensus because now I did call the one that they have retained, now I know why they didn't call back, but it's just maybe you guys have something in mind because the collections were getting done back then.
When you mentioned this before, and I know what the situation is, which is what you stated, and my initial suggestion for handling was just to go to lunch with our city attorney and say, hey, look, you're not putting out for us like Inman did before, you know, and he's not gonna provide a similar service, then we need to go elsewhere.
But, can I dovetail this, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
In the past, we've had the mayor issue a written, order to collect whatever it is that something's owed to us. And given days, 30 days, 90 days, whatever respond, they don't respond. We just turn those documents over to the attorney for collection, right?
Yes.
Say, this has been documented, this is the situation, this is where we are to collect, right? And so that's really all he needs to do is write a letter.
That and, or apply liens on
Yeah.
our behalf.
That would be the next step. Yeah, he'd
Yeah.
say, I've got this from the mayor, it looks like you've exhausted,
All
time period, so
legal
now we're going to
remedies.
need to lien. That's our legal attorneys, that's our attorneys
He won't
who
do it.
do that.
I've tried and there's other things that won't.
Yeah.
We're allowed to have secondary counsel if you don't do that practice area. But we're losing here.
So the thing is, you can't address another law firm, but this guy's on retainer, right?
No.
So he's
We have to give them 30 days, but
So
that's a whole different thing under, yeah.
All right, so we have, we're paying him for this. So if we have $12,000 in collections, we get several different accounts. We give him at one time, he puts it out for collection instead of charges a one-time fee for doing that for us.
Like, and most attorneys do that, or they bundle it and do garnishment, tax intercept, liens, you name it, or they'll get an order for demo. The city gets the property and resets as long as it's rehabilitated, if it is able to.
So we already have all that documented, everything's written down, we just need to turn it over to him. So we should call another attorney.
But Doc, you got any want to chime in, or?
No,
Doc's been with me on this before.
Yeah.
so-
really, it's like hiring anyone. If you hire someone and they're there for you and they act when you request it, then you have a good vendor. If you don't, then you go get someone else. So if that's the case, then we have to find someone else. I don't have anyone in mind.
I don't know, that's why I put it on there if you guys did. Or if we,
I don't have an attorney offhand, but if an alderman had that information in the folder, we could call an attorney and ask for an appointment to see them and tell them our issue.
I've checked around personally, and a lot of them do municipalities, or they already are retained,
Yeah.
and they are overloaded as it is, because municipalities are a headache.
Yeah.
Well, that's time for referrals, to someone else. There's a lot of lawyers are a dime a dozen, and
That's good.
so there's got to be some
be on the same gym?
No, no, no.
And then like,
No, it's like a fire district, they have their attorney, and she's a municipal attorney and all kinds of stuff. She's very smart, but she's from where? St. Louis, so I mean, they can, as long as it's the same state, the bar license, they can do that, so. It's just, ours, what we're getting billed for, is the same thing here, you can look up on case that, you know.
right, so if we went to look for one, how would we, or if we were looking, what kind of, I don't know, how, if I want to do my research, if I want to do my research at home,
Yeah.
to look for something, what would I need
It'd
to
be
say?
like, municipal attorney, or you could look at for, collections of litigation, things like that, liens. Estate, I guess I would fall under estates and stuff like that, but I usually type in municipal or, you know, other attorneys, and that's how, it usually pops up because it's part of the scope of practice, so. And I just call some and look at their reviews. And then I call the towns they represent and see how they're doing for that. So,
All right, so let's move forward with that.
I'm just
And
getting
13.
it up. I mean,
So I would make a suggestion or
it's just a thing. We
motion to move forward with that. 13.
13, authorization to request bid proposals for repairing projects and material for around the city. So it's the same, the money we're getting for repairs, like for this building, we got some, and there's a little more coming. It says that we as a city have a right to submit for open bids for work due. That's just authorizing, I have to have that to give to FEMA, show we did competitive bidding. So, because our procurement policy and everything's from 19 whatever, and it doesn't meet their standards.
Do you have their example of their template for
Yeah, I
procurement
do.
policies?
Yeah,
So that's what the board needs to adopt.
okay.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, we can
So-
do it, it doesn't have to be right now. I just want to,
Well, I make a motion to initiate, creating templates for current, according to current standards for authorization to request bid proposals for repairing projects or material for the city.
okay.
Second.
Motion made second, and all in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion passed.
Did we do, on number 12, did we do a motion for that one?
That didn't really go anywhere.
No, we did not.
So,
We're gonna have to go back to, gonna have to motion to suspend the rules and then go back to that section for a vote.
I thought we discussed it, but make a motion to initiate contact with other law firms to facilitate collections and liens per ordinance for actions that are
State law.
State law allows it. Sorry. So we have a motion from Doc, right?
Yes.
Right now, okay.
And I second that motion.
Motion made second, all in favor? No? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion on that passed. Departmental reports, emergency management. I got a lot of FEMA certificates. I've been doing a little bit of training. The BABA waiver right here is done. So for the wastewater, but that can go on that one. But that's kind of both emergency management and that. But I really have nothing to report unless Jody, you have anything to report on your end?
No.
Okay. All right. Police department, how's that going, Doc?
there is nothing actively being done on it now, and it's working to our benefit by not spending those funds for that and having it available for other things that are needed.
Administrative department,
I made my report earlier.
okay, Mr. Felix, do you have anything to report you'd like to share?
We've just been working with the treasurer and certain other issues that we did the last couple of days,
Yeah.
trying to get a feel for the all of the emotions to do certain things. So we're moving forward on trying to get this thing finalized, being selected and city clerk, so we can move on.
Yes. All right. Anything else? Alderman Felix? All right, good. Street department,
Yeah, regarding that, we still have gravel all up and down 3rd Street on the turn and a couple cutouts that have been patched. So that's supposed to have been handled by jokers.
And
It's
they're-
the optimum time of year because it's hot, it's a good time to lay asphalt, so.
I've been in contact with them. And you can ask Frank, they're behind still. And I'm gonna probably talk to the main boss, which is tomorrow, and see where we're at on this list.
Yeah, minimally where we're at, maximally when.
When, and
And if there's a delay, fine, that's understandable, but
we,
if the delay's gone on too long, then they need to give us an estimate as when they're going to get there, that it can be held to and responsible.
I've been told 3 times, and I gave them the last chance, they said July, and that they would be starting down here.
So we have to do it, if we go to a different vendor?
Oh, yes, we can, I mean, because I like jokers, don't get me wrong,
Me too.
but the problem is, 8th Street's washing out, and every time I told them we're not paying for gravel no more, because they can pay us or take it off the cost. It's falling apart, and just because they've been off more than they can chew, it's not our problem.
Yeah, so,
Didn't we already, I'm sorry, didn't we already give them money already?
We paid them for the work they did on the mitigation and all the other stuff before the overlay, lines and.
And we have to give them a little bit of room here because it's peak season, we're getting stuff done outside.
I know.
Everybody wants everything.
We were scheduled prior though.
Yeah, the work that they've done has been pretty good, right?
Oh yeah, and they're great people, they're a great company, Jokers
Yeah.
Incorporated. I gotta make sure it's clarified for the record, but yeah, they're great. They're very busy down Sprague, they're still up there, aren't they?
Well, they're up there, everything again, and they're in Villagendale.
Yeah.
so maybe we can contact the CEO.
Yeah, I'm gonna contact them tomorrow, and that's on my list of duties and things.
Okay, great.
Because I know you're leaving town, so.
Yeah, so next is E, water and wastewater department.
Frank?
The only thing I have is, water's been doing good. The regional power's been down less than, it has been recently in a couple months. People's phone calls and, getting water, doing a lot of stuff with water, I guess. But we went back down to our minimum of what we use throughout the day. The other thing is too, is Eric and I are gonna be getting ready to start flushing dead end hydrants with the heat and stuff. The rain was cutting us out on a lot of stuff, so we was behind on a few things, getting done. The wastewater plant, we're gonna install the new electric motor in our blower room, for pump 2. It's got a new blower, but the motor went out in it, so we're gonna replace that. Pump 1 blower, that blower is about almost had it, so we might be looking at the cost of a replacement unless we can actually put it on the wastewater agreement that we did with FEMA. because, I mean, I don't know exactly how they can pull that one off or whatever, or the
We're working on it.
stuff they got on the mechanical side of that. But other than that, everything's been pretty well normal, so,
Water tests are coming back good.
yeah, water and wastewater's been excellent, so. No, our sludge blanket's been down. I dumped a few weeks ago, and then the rain came in, and I didn't want to dump while it was diluted, but we're still down a half foot inside our clear fire, so that's good. I mean, I do dump on occasion just to circulate, but anyways, I don't want to dump out more than we have to, so it's doing good. So.
Good. All right.
Oh, on that, I did find some information, and this is a formal approval of the waiver request under Build America, Buy American Act. I sent this to you guys, so
Yeah.
I have a Zoom tomorrow to let me know when they plan on breaking ground, I guess. It's still a wastewater project, so this is part of Delta Regional Authority. So that is taking place, so I just wanted to add that to that as well. And Frankie, I'll let you know, and I'll tag you in it, you know, so you know what's going on. So, which is an important thing, because it's been taking forever to get this waiver, and I'm sure Mary knows, it's been a long time waiting on this, we're waiting. But, so, they determined that it was unreasonable cost to do anything different, because we have a one-of-a-kind plan, so at $500,000 and plus our bond at 7.1 or 7.2 million, you know, is good to go, so. But I just wanted to put that out there. All right. Park, cemetery, roads, and Brian or anybody have anything on that, any of them?
Well, I think we're kind of heading the right place for getting that new park. I know you had sent some information that you got,
What a find, man.
a good buy that you bought.
Yeah. I called Doc beforehand, just so you know.
Purple Wave.
Yeah.
It's some equipment,
Yeah,
very nice.
this one is similar, it's $22,000, so significant savings.
Now, and then, do they also have the swings with that too?
Yes, they have one, it's just kid swing,
Right.
so I mean, but that's,
Right.
So, yeah, so if you remember from the initial bid, she quoted, what's the total amount that we had, 40 something?
41,000.
So there's a $20,000 difference between what we can spend and what was proposed. And what was proposed was 26,000, about 29,000, 30,000 in equipment, $12,000 for mulch, $2,000, so with borders and mulch, that was $14,000, and then $18,000 in labor. So I think we need to, this was a bid that was submitted. So now we have a piece of equipment that is nearly $20,000.
Yeah.
So we can still purchase something from them, but we're going to be buying a smaller piece of equipment, I would estimate, with less labor. I don't think we need rubber mulch, because if it floods or something, the rubber's going to wash out and pollute the environment. And it should, since we're buying a smaller piece of equipment, it should reduce the installation cost significantly. So that should get us in closer to the 41,000 that we've been allotted, and then we can start moving forward. The Eric has stakes now to kind of map out the area to replacement as well as parking and stuff, so that we can start getting an idea of where to put it and how it will end up looking based on footprint.
So have you got a date where we can go out and look to see where we're gonna put this?
I would-
As far as staking it out?
I would say this, I think it needs to be done this month.
it needs to be done. I'm trying to get the survey taken care of, but I can't. I left a message. I'm just making sure if there's names there or not, just to kind of see.
Yeah.
But we own it.
We did discuss the location of it, though.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everything's good, so, but, and the the other thing, this thing's pretty heavy. So logistically wise, we have to take it down. That's just part of the deal. We're trying to see if we take it apart in thirds, load it on a trailer. So my thing is, if we use like me and Aaron's equipment or that, we can bid it out, whatever you want to do, just to take it apart. If we got to bolt it and load it on a trailer, big trailer, like yours, my have or yours. And we have trying to take the mini excavator up there, lift the top off and get all that apart.
Right.
That's concrete in it, so we got to take all that out. So that's why.
Which means labor, jackhammer rental, to bust up some of the concrete, to get it out, and then they'll haul it up the trailer and bring it here.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's a timeline to get it out, but I just want to make sure, if we use our equipment, in there, if the excavator or whatever, the trailer's loaded up, and then
Well,
reimbursement, this is for cost, that's all I'm asking.
Well, I mean, you have to let us know what the cost is, so we know what kind of money we're.
Well, it ain't gonna be bad, yeah, I just want, because how tall it is,
Yeah.
and that main beam is in concrete.
But still,
That's
it's
gonna
more
be a rough
than
one.
how much money it's gonna be.
It won't, yeah. And we can use your trailer too, can't we?
Yeah.
Because they got air brakes or not?
They've got metal brakes in it.
Okay, that will. I did. All right, it's got brakes. All right. Citizen participation. Has anybody got anything?
So what did you say, Doc, that, roughly how much we're gonna have left over for
I think, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip on this, but I think we should be able to buy another, out of these catalogs, we should buy another piece of equipment, I don't know, probably between 10 and 15,000. And then I think we need to get Kendra in here and renegotiate this quote that she's given us, which is going to include a reduction in the installation costs, because that play builder set that she has was 23,000 and the swing set was 4,000. So we're going to have a swing set, we're going to have a similar play builder type set, and we could probably buy that we could probably install on our own, since we're hauling out, we know how it's built, and we can get a smaller piece of equipment with labor and stuff to install it with her, so that it can go up quickly and we'll have a larger footprint of play games. Probably 3 or 4 stations to play at for the kids. The swing set is a toddler one with the seats that, yeah. So, and we're gonna need an adult size, or,
Well, and I know we
teenage
talked
adolescent
about,
size.
can we use any of that equipment?
I
from the
looked
other-
in, we're probably gonna have to get a few new rubber,
Right, but can we take those other bars that,
Yeah, it's gonna be,
the
have to
framework from the other place?
be, yeah, it's gonna have to be dug at the concrete, they're in concrete
Right.
case, so gotta take that out and then load it up and paint, it can be painted and refurbished, yes.
Yeah.
The same as the tables.
Yeah, my vision would be the heavier duty stuff there,
Right.
and then a small swings or something up here in this end of town too, so we have 2 things, one on each end.
Well, and I think the bigger one over here, I think we need to have a smaller swing for the toddlers, and then one of the bigger kids or that one too.
Yeah,
And then whatever we can get for down here.
yeah,
Just didn't have to be your,
Right.
a slide and some swings.
yeah.
Did we, so it's one from the city of Arnold, is that going down here, like,
Yeah.
estimated, and then are we just gonna put add-ons and connect to it, like, everything interconnected with that little tight, that's why I was like, man, that's a good deal. So that's why I called it, but, so, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think you need to do a little reconnaissance thing, go up there to see where all the nuts and bolts are on it, to see what kind of attachments they have. To
Yeah.
me, it looked like it had collars in it with Allen keys,
Yeah,
so you can take parts of it apart. Maybe they're slip fit, so you have to grease it on or blast them to get them apart. And then you'll have to dig a perimeter on the concrete footings. And then I would rent a
jackhammer to bust up the concrete because it's going to be less weight. And we're going to re-pour concrete in it anyway. So, and it should, come off fairly easily.
There's no big deal with that mini, we got that.
And you've got a generator, a generator that you can run a jackhammer with, because they're electric, which you'll get. They're usually $70 a day. You'll get a jackhammer with a set of bits and run it off of your generator.
And the mini, we can lift that up with straps, load, set it down.
Get those 4-inch nylon straps for that, and you can use my tractor for any accessory digging if you need it.
Yeah, the pillars, the big one probably start pulling and ripping.
So when is the projected date of doing that?
Well, first we gotta pay for it.
Do I?
First we gotta pay for it, but we got an ACH account, but I talked to them, I said, look, I know you say July 21st you want it out, but I gotta come up, we gotta look at it first, And they said it's fine. The reason they're getting rid of it is because they want to put a parking lot in, because there's not enough parking up there for all their activities and events. So they decided just to axe it and sell it.
So target date is to get it into town by the end of the month.
Yeah, that's
The last week, because I'll be back then to help with it if needed. And then also that last week, because we'll have a work meeting or something scheduled in 2 or thereabouts, and we can have her come in and maybe speak with Brian about redoing this bid. And then giving her the green light, to bring all the other equipment so we can have everything going on.
Yeah,
And then you said something about the, not something, but the,
Safety, parking.
yeah, the company that does that, because the property line's down there.
Oh, the surveys.
Survey.
yeah. Which the last one was done by Bader Met Survey.
So let's get a target done to get it surveyed within the next 2 weeks.
We're doing the best I can, I've called 3
There's already a
times.
survey down the title company for that property.
Yeah,
Should we check that out?
we can, I just want to be able to stake it out.
It'd be the same, it
Yeah.
hasn't changed. I mean, instead of us paying for another one, we could go back and get the last one that was done, probably when the school was taken down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can then, we just had one done. 24, 25.
Okay.
Through Zonner. They're the one who
So
came
Zonner's
down.
got your,
So they've got mine that shows the property lines, but
okay.
I don't know what that means. You could tell me it's all the way down to the driveway, I believe, because I
You
don't
could
know.
probably use that one on her side.
So-
Yeah, we can probably just go off.
Oh, we use both of them.
Yeah, we could, yeah, the
One
time.
area.
We did talk about the entrance to the park being from the back, for the kids to come in, perhaps make a little staircase down from it, so the kids don't come all the way to the front to go into the park. And, so hopefully,
Yeah, that could be done. It's probably a little maintenance, but you do it with railroad ties. I did it in some of my
platform.
part of my yard, where you just cut out and drop in an 8-footer and then a 3-footer and then fill it in with gravel. The only problem with gravel is that you got weeds growing in it, so you have to retain it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is set back to where we have gravel road back here, and it's really out of the way. Teresa, I'd like to recognize Melvin, because we wouldn't have this folder if it wasn't for his assistance. in
Yeah,
putting it
yeah.
together.
Very
So
good.
congratulations.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much. He's brought order to our council meeting.
And thank you, Leslie, for the folders and getting them nice and neat. I mean, they look nice.
I think it looks great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Leslie.
It's very helpful.
And so we could pull our information out and leave our folder here for you to fill out next time, or
Yep,
is that okay?
yeah, and I mean, you guys can keep or take home whatever you need.
Great.
So, pretty much, we really don't have much to talk about unless you guys, do you want to close session after we close the motion adjourn.
I would just dovetail to remind you that the hiring agency will be in contact with you tomorrow.
Okay.
And, yeah, so I guess,
I do run up there and.
yeah, I was gonna say, could they, well, the contract is up there in paper form, but they probably could send it to you and you could,
I got e-sign on
and
it.
actually
Yeah.
sign it.
Which will verify it, they have a verified name from notary
If
and.
they put my name on it when I was negotiating with them, but now they'll put your name on it and you can sign it.
Well, whatever,
I'll call
I mean, if they need you, I can authorize you.
Okay, cool.
So, it don't matter to me, either one, so.
I'm glad we're rolling with that. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
me
to
too.
having some.
I'm glad we got some stuff done. All right,
Before we adjourn,
yes,
I
ma'am.
do have one question.
Yeah.
Animal control department. We have a dog that is, I don't want to say running loose, but is loose in the night area out there. It's been in my yard several times, and it runs around the neighborhood with the kids. How do we go about handling it?
Is it the bus here?
Nope, no. This is the one that, is now living in, I can't remember her name, Cassie's house.
It's kind of a champagne colored dog.
No, it's a black lab.
838.
8:38.
38, yes.
I,
The dog's always on the loose, it's either running in the streets with the kids.
the only way to do it, like Deputy Barnes told me, people that when he comes down, if they sign a complaint, he will file or seize the dog if he can get it, you know. And then he refers it to the prosecutor. And after so many times, then they don't get it back, it gets readopted out for negligent, you know, not being able to care for them. But we don't have the facilities or,
Right.
there's so much
Yeah, I
into
get
that,
So
yeah.
I did not know if the protocol was we send them a letter stating, look at that,
I-
because they're new in our neighborhood.
There is a letter, but typically the police department would take care of that, or, you know, but I can send them a letter.
When I was on that committee, and I wrote my own letter,
Yeah,
and it didn't do any good, but ultimately, and I contacted the animal control officer as well. He was nice. There were some cats plus a dog issue, and it was a very frustrating thing with poor outcome in terms of.
Sounds like I burnt down his house.
So, but you can write a letter. The city can write a letter. You can actually, there's probably one on record for me to whoever it was that I wrote the letter to.
yeah,
And you can copy and paste and do that to this person.
yes,
And then,
that's how it is, well.
Put his name on it.
No, I don't want my house burned, it would. All right, is there anything else?
Brian, the bulldog killer homes.
I would like to recognize, Barry, how long are you going to be in town?
Oh,
I'm actually going to come back tomorrow, work with Leslie a little bit before I leave.
oh, wonderful. You are, you. Yeah. And then what time you leave tomorrow, you can be here early and everything, working on this. I'm just thinking in my head about this woman, or just figuring stuff out.
I'm here till whenever.
I know, you're here, you
What
got,
time do you think?
Okay, you're good.
Eight?
I can't hear you.
I probably won't be there, I don't even know.
Come here.
Oh, well, I didn't plan, I like 9 too. 9 work, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's right, you guys have
Brian
to
has
get
an
done.
Airbnb.
Oh,
Yeah. You
I
look
did a
at
that
it.
before I leave yours.
You look at it.
All right, a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn and then we will come back to go in the close in a minute.
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn.
You need to specify what section of the
Personnel, 6, 10.
personnel.
Yeah. For personnel, that's it. The rest of it took care of.
Okay.
72 years old.
So,
If it's okay, we can answer.
you're fine, yeah, because that's what
No,
you said.
no.
Step ladder for Paul.
So there's a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting.
You said you was talking, you said you was talking.
He gave you a break.
Anyone
I
that,
second that motion.
Thank you.
Motion made, second to adjourn the regular session and then a short recess, come back in 2 minutes to go into close for personnel. That's it. And that's what we're done. Under 610-010. Is there a motion? Motion made, seconded, all in
Who
favor?
seconded?
6-2? Not too bad.
No, get it done.
I can't write this fast as you talk. 62010?
Yes. Six, there you go. 610, 01, 610, 010, please.
What section?
Subsection 2.
I'm a beach.
2?
Okay, then.
With a 2-minute recess and re-adjourn into close. Is there a motion? There wasn't.
Yeah, motion
They
seconded.
seconded. Who seconded? I didn't hear a
Rose
second.
seconded.
This, you weren't listening.
You were talking.
All right, motion made, second, all in favor?